encompassing the vibe of a house pet, whether it's a nice kitty cat, a doggo, maybe a bird. Do people have cages? No one has a giant bird cage?
It's not very common.
But I'm sure there's someone out there. I'm sure there's somebody in pet play that has a giant bird cage.
I didn't find it.
Pet play is part of the BDSM practices and similar fetish communities, but it's not exclusively sexual. Boy, before, haven't we? Boy, oh boy, we've danced around this before, huh? Yeah, it's not exclusively sexual, but it can be. Yeah. Today's video is sponsored by Fume. We all have our bad habits in life. Hell, I've been playing a lot of Magic the Gathering lately and spending a little too much money. Shame. But Fume is here to help me leave all my bad habits behind. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that helps you say bye-bye to bad habits and say hello to healthier living. Fume doesn't use vapor, nicotine, or toxic flavors, making it a great guilt-free alternative that you can take anywhere. Plus, you can reach for the device anytime you need to calm your anxiety with their movable, snappable magnets. I'm sure you're thinking, it's air. What could it taste like? Let me tell you. Fume has an array of core flavors, but they just came out with 3 new ones. Cinnamon Hearts, Spearmint Ice, and Black Licorice. Orange Vanilla used to be my favorite, but Spearmint Ice has a sweet mint taste that I just simply can't refuse. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code PAPAMEAT to get your free Fume base when you order the Journey Pack. It's the all-new magnetic stand for your Fume device. Head to tryfume.com. That's tryfum.com and use promo code PAPAMEAT or scan the QR code on screen to get your free Fume base when you order.
That man smoked a cigar, definitely.
Some who participate in pet play find it a form of stress relief, a way to explore identity, and simply, it's just a playful activity. It's not sexual. Stop saying it. I'm stressed. Need you to pull my leash harder. This leash isn't tight enough around my neck, kind of thing. Also to note, pet play does not involve any actual pets, just adults pretending to be pets. So no animals are actually involved. Usually, I didn't deep dive that far. We didn't deep dive down that far. I'm not trying to see any kind of, we're going to nip it in the bud right there. The exact date that the pet play movement started is not known, but it began to gain a following in the mid to late 20th century, sometime after World War II, which it was, everybody was stress relieved back then. They were just like, I can do what? The Nazis are gone. I can be who? Woof woof, am I right? Before that, though, some ancient cultures incorporated animal masks and costumes in religious and cultural ceremonies, suggesting a long-standing fascination with animalistic behavior. People have always been kind of obsessed with being little doggos, right? But it wasn't really until now that people get to actually be one, right? You can ceremoniously be one. You can embody the energy of an animal, but now I actually want to be a dog. It's not sexual. I'm not hard. Don't point the camera down. So pet players need to embody the animal to such a high degree that they will do anything in order to enhance that experience. By immersing themselves in these roles, they lose their identity and become one with their animal. They get to discard the annoying person they are. I was going to say the annoying goth girl. I was like, what does she look like? Hey, let me shake hands with that person, right? I don't give if I'm shaking Paul. So I want to see goth girl. Whoa. During my regular day, I'm an accountant at H&R Block. But when I go home, I'm an owl. Probably owl's not a good.
We have a negative 18-degree day.
Birds really aren't that common. Pets. I should have just said a bulldog. But when I go home, I'm a bulldog. And you're probably asking yourself, why?
There ain't nothing to get on.
We ask ourselves that in every fetish video, but it's worth asking. Why would people do it? And some people say it's an escape. It's an escape from everyday responsibility. Which who does want to be? Yeah, right. Alcoholics say that's their escape. You get home, you drop to the floor and pretend to be a dog for the rest of the day. A dogs don't have any worries, right? When I get home from work and if I put on my dog collar and I flop to the floor, I'm just like my pupper who doesn't have any worries. And now, neither do I. Do you think pet play people have their own? During the day, I can't understand them, but when I'm in my pet play, I can communicate.
Well, that's the thing. You're kind of like.
So even when they're dressed in their normal clothes, they're like, I have to have these human clothes on me, but I'm still a dog. Okay. It can also be therapeutic for some in a way to help with social anxiety. Pets get groomed, they get their belly stretched, and they even get treats. The stress just washes away sometimes. That's why I'm an animal. I go outside, I'm naked, I just lay on my driveway, I bake in the sun, and then I get melanoma.
What the fuck are we even doing?
Others claim it's a form of self-discovery. As a human, people judge you and criticize you, but as a dog or cat, you don't have to worry about that. Instead, you're too busy thinking about being a puppy or a cute little kitty cat. You let things you enjoy being free. Easy way just to let things slide off your shoulders and just say, hey, I got time to lick my balls. As somebody, dude, if you're a real pet play judge, like, you better be taking yoga. If you're taking a shower standing up and licking yourself, you're not doing it right. I want to see a guy get down and do that cat leg stretch, almost like touching the moon, just straight up, going down to start licking. I'm like, God damn, dude, I think you gotta clean this up. I hate when a dog is either closing their eyes and like they're really into it, but I also don't like when a dog's like. Either way, it's never good. I'm always just like, do that somewhere else, dude. I don't know why, too, but it's always when you're like, I have to work all day, or sit down, I'm just gonna watch Big Bang Theory, my favorite show. And that's whenever they comes and plops to the floor, and you're just trying to watch it. You're hearing chilling things with Zinga, and you're also hearing this fucking fur baby licking balls all night. It's fucking annoying. And of course, we do have the kink aspect to it, which is like 90% of pet play. I know we said it is all sexual, but it's pretty much all sexual. Within the pet play community, there are pet handlers and owners. Much like in the feeder community, there are feeds and feeders. All starting to make sense, Nick. Starting to connect. I mean, what is a pet without its owner? It's nothing. It's not a pet, it's an animal. And animals don't have pets. All dogs don't go to heaven. If a dog doesn't have an owner, it's going to hell. Or it's going to go, it's black when you die. If you're that kind
Playing
of
another one?
black.
No, on the next location.
No.
What the hell do you think I was saying? And this is where the BDSM comes into play.
I
This
mean,
is my puppy. So I have to own this one. This one wears my collar.
I'll do FBO kisses on the leather jacket. I want to know what punk band you're a part of. This is about
You
every
could also
ska
level it up.
band I've ever seen. Is this Real Big Fish right in front of me?
Look at that. See that smile?
Whenever you're in the zone, you get.
Watch it. You can get that. Love that shit. In the movies when they're sitting there and someone takes your gun,
Or whatever gun you have out while you're holding the zone.
whatever. He says, "Thank you, sir, dude." You know what I mean? Isn't that fucked up? What the hell is this pet play? You're just a guy who likes to wear a collar. I don't like the little greasy mohawk. I don't like the shaved head that goes into the beard. Don't enjoy that. I want to say though, nothing against him personally, just to me, just a little uncomfortable. In pet play, you have one partner to be the dominant one. You need to have a partner to be the dominant, the dom, they say, which is usually the handler, and then you have the submissive one. It's a sexual fantasy roleplay that uses sub and dom archetypes to get your rocks off. Sometimes you need to be dominated. Sometimes you need to be submissive. It's what people like.
We treat like real dogs at home, and having a human dog is basically the same thing.
I want to say that first off, the Kipsy Taste-esque mask, steampunk mask that this woman is wearing made of leather is horrifying.
You know, you play with them, you chase stuff, you go from pets to like a big girl they are.
Okay, the kiss on the head is fucking me up actually. Mwah, mwah. You good little doggy? Mwah. Mwah. I feel like a bunch of snot just shot out of my nose because I was like, it looks like an off-brand Doctor Who.
It's about the headspace for me. It's about becoming an animal.
Okay, we can't show this part.
Trophy
That's her whole
system
ass and
deployed.
pussy is that right there. I think that it has to be a humiliation game. But I still don't understand. I would, man, can I be honest with you? How much time do you get off? Overly obese, man. You know how easy it is for me to be humiliated? I just go to like a water park, take off my clothes, and hard the entire time. People are like, oh my god. I'm like, I know, I'm happy. They're like, no, you're fully erect the entire. No, I know, I have a big belly. I get it. God, I'm so humiliated. Well, after a while, too, would it be if you have a humiliation kink and you're actively looking to be humiliated? That has become harder and harder to become humiliated, right? So at a certain point, you must have to go to extremes to find it. And that's probably where people find themselves in these things. It's like, oh, I'm going to literally be a dog.
Did you just put a cigarette into his mouth? That's... Oh, it's a video, if that's okay. I'm not judging. You're both consenting adults. The viewers will be wondering, what is going on? What is going on?
This is not a pet. This is a slave. You know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to say about your pets at home? So I got a golden retriever at home. I do the same thing. Like, acts into its mouth. Is that a normal thing you do with dogs? This is just like being a human slave. Humiliate. This is another humiliation king.
So I'm doing beta male.
Beta male. Are you a beta male? Okay. As the
I don't think this is pet play. This is just her being like, yeah, he's a fucking cock. And he's like, yes, I am. Like those people that spit in people's faces and like, thank you, or step on their balls in public. Rude.
They go to their doors and drop $10,000.
There are even specific subreddits and adoption days for people who are into pet play kind of antics, you know, like having adopted days. This is virtually non-kill, adopt your own dog or a kill shot.
No, I'm there.
I don't know why I specified non matchmaking pickup play event. Pet play. Box just adopt me.
There's no. There's gonna be.
It's like a 47-year-old now. I need to get me home. Little doggo. Boot my nose. Boot my snoot. But before you can be adopted, you must first pick what animal you want to be. Some people like to be foxes, rabbits, or even mythical creatures. Like you can be a fucking rabbit. It's not a cat. First up, you have puppy play. This is for the more energetic individual, as they like to bark, play, and fetch, and run around the yard. I can't play the song, but it's that Black Eyed Peas song where it's like, bump it louder. Also don't like the FaceTime self-report they have where the guy looks like being recorded. Imagine like working at a GameStop next door to this, like watch this all day.
That smells good, babe.
They embrace the fun and carefree aspects of being a puppy. They also often use gear such as harnesses, leashes, pup hoods, and sometimes muzzles for aggressive pups. Are we insinuating that some of these puppy players fight their owners?
That's like part of the play. Just like, I'm aggressive. Muzzle on me.
No.
Why the f did that actually get me kind of hyped? Why the f was I just kind of like, hell yeah, dude? I was like, god damn, old boy's transformed right in front of my eyes. I love that. While many puppy players take on a submissive role play by obeying commands and seeking guidance from their handler, some may adopt a more dominant role. So in order of dominance, these are the stages of pup play. First you have alpha pups. Alpha pups.
Behind about.
Scooby-Doo. These are the dominant, leader-like, and often take charge in group settings. They're the alphas, dude. Alpha of the pack. You have to be a puppy player to know what that means, idiot. Beta pups are submissive to the alpha, but can dominate towards more submissive pups. You like to have your main alpha. So I think I might be there. All right, so far, that's where I'm seeing myself in line. I think I'm a beta pup. You got omega pups who are highly submissive and often at the bottom of the hierarchy of the pack. All right, service pup. They have fucking service dogs and puppy play? Is there a blind man out there with a service dog?
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. There's gonna be a fucking blind guy with just like a little like gimp dude walking around like, or those girls are like interesting to people. There's probably a guy with like epilepsy. He's getting ready to have a seizure. He's like, get on my lap, boy. Have you ever seen those dogs that get on there? Becomes extremely less cute.
Well, I say, I definitely would have a puppy player as my service dog. I would know the signs more.
What would you do? Service pup. Have you had an aneurysm before? So service pups are dutiful, eager to assist, and enjoy performing tasks. You have bratty pups who are mischievous, playful, and enjoy pushing boundaries. You have guard pups who are protective, vigilant, and loyal. Show pups that are performative, enjoy being in the center of attention, and are skilled with tricks. A playful pup who is energetic, enthusiastic, and enjoys playful interaction. And even strays, who are pups without masters. I still think I kind of see myself as a little beta pup. I like having a daddy, but I also like being the dominant one. With the Sigma pup basically just being a regular pup. I want a senpai pup. And that's even above alpha. Senpai is like the oracle pup. Knowing my ass, dude, I'd be a stray. I'm looking for a daddy, but never find him because I'm damaged goods like that. I'm just trying to get them involved.
I really do like the movement.
Pups are also more social towards other pet players and will partake in more social events such as pup washes, pup moshes, or even pup shows.
No way.
What shotgun is it? Oh yeah.
I'm really trying to wrap my head around if I was like on my way to get groceries and I walked by this, what would I honestly think? I mean, there's like a level of that's scary outfit, all black, and you have a fucking leather dog mask on. I'd probably be like, what? I'd probably be actually a little like, ooh, and then would probably maybe discuss it along. I think maybe no, it's disgusting.
61 and 40. Let's go. Fuck, man.
And they get off it, and it's hard shit, hard pissing. No, it's not all sexual. I just want to put that out there. I don't want to come off as sexual. So let's see what a pup wash is. Good thing. where the other guy's hands are at. This is like
Sounds
we
good.
need to do this in a forest
Like,
because
you
I will not understand. Puppy show and auction. Okay, the auction off the deal. This is definitely not sexual though. Kind of like why do I kind of vibe with the camo one? Huh? Little safety hunter orange. I'd like to put a bid. I'd like to give a bag of pedigree for that dog right there. Heel, heel. Do you think if you gave a pup player a full bar of Gary Jelly Dark Chocolate, they would live?
I think they role play dying.
What if he actually died? I'd be like, oh my god. Can you imagine too a guy going to the vet and the vet comes in, he's like, he has to put down his dog, he's too old. He goes in there and it's just like a fucking pup player. He's like, this is a person, I can't put this person down. He's like actually sitting there like it's like the ending of Marley. You're such a good dog. It's just like a full grown, like 56-year-old Puerto Rican guy on the table. Give me the shock, doc, I'll do it myself. That room's gotta be stinky. Have you ever been to like a dog play park? That shit smells too. They're definitely pissing on that carpet. They're getting their rocks off pissing on that carpet and knowing that shit's not coming out. Their piss has got to be like 40 years of smoking cigarettes in a house. It's like there's no way it's getting out. You know what I mean? It's there forever. Okay, I think that is. I think I'm legit. Is this someone's asshole right here? I think this is someone's asshole, and I think it's because a tail is supposed to come through that.
Yeah, that is someone's asshole.
Okay, we can't show that. That's the LAPCC Puppy Palooza 2019. Very fancy. There's a level of autism that comes with going to a puppy play show in a neighborhood with boxing gloves on, a mask, and a Deadpool shirt. It's admirable by this point. I mean, it's truly a human experience that I'll never get to ever fathom. That has to be a ninja puppy mask.
The streamer ninja?
Yeah, I'm not even like. Look at these colors real quick. You look at me in the face right now and say that is not a fucking ninja puppy mask. The yellow and everything, motherfucker probably bought that at Walmart. Ninja sells everything at Walmart. Unbelievable.
What was that?
It's just it's people doing the howls, but they snap their head back really quick. It's a little cringy. All right.
Hater.
Yeah, maybe I am a hater, dude, but I'm trying to learn and make myself more adapt to understanding and becoming more loving guy. I'm going into this document, dude. This is my first time really experiencing this stuff, and I think that my visceral reaction is because I don't know. But the more I get into it, the more I think I'm gonna be able to understand. Which there are many prominent figures in the pup community that we've found. One of them being Tom Peters, aka Spot. Does he show his asshole? I mean, that'd be a reason to call somebody Spot, right? The whole thing, and you just see their fleshy asshole like that. I don't know. He gained popularity after being featured in the BBC documentary Secret Life of Human Pups. He started his involvement in puppy play in 2008 after discovering the concept while participating in the BDSM community. Not sexual. Tom likes to dress up as his own age and indulge in the life of a puppy. That's what Tom Spot. Right?
There are 9 million of them in the UK, with 1 in 4 households having a canine companion.
Bitch pulling that dog. We're going home!
But some people don't just want to own a dog.
No!
They want to be one.
Okay, that unironically just scared the absolute shit. That is a jump scare. Look at that. Oh my.
32-year-old Tom works as a sound and lighting technician for a local theatre. But after a long day at the office, this is where he likes to sleep.
I can actually fit in quite successfully.
That guy fuck you up. You know what I mean? Takes off the thing, hit the fucking chain on. He was like waxing it. He looked like Tom Hardy in that. Tom Hardy is in this movie where he plays a British gangster, him and his twin, and it looks like this.
It doesn't look very comfortable.
It's bizarre. It doesn't look comfortable. But then, I mean, you can shuffle around. You can make yourself a different shape. You can curl up differently.
Right? Why are you punishing yourself like this? Holy shit, you got a perfectly good bed. Dogs sleep on beds all the time. Hey, my little puppers sleep in my bed. Sometimes. Kick them off. That's what I say to him. You ever see that Facebook post of that woman who like taped her dog's mouth shut? She's just like, he won't stop barking now. And then when people freaked out, she was like, why are you guys so upset about it? I took the tape off. It's like, God, you crazy bitch.
For the past 10 years, Tom has spent every spare moment becoming a dog.
My claustrophobia can't, dude. Especially with my fat ass. Come on.
Puppy training pads. They're there for small puppy spills, normally, but they're quite absorbent.
It's a puppy accident. Which is funny because dogs don't pee where they eat.
I had a puppy in my cage who could piss in there.
I guess dogs, once they're trained, don't.
Well, it's called puppy play. I wonder if they're just trying to be puppies. I bet you feel real fucking awkward.
Tom spent more than £4,000 on specially made gear to transform into his alter ego, Spot.
Oh my god, those feet. What's weird is everyone else just kind of had like almost like steampunk leather masks. It's kind of what it made me think of whenever I saw like the crow mask thing. It looks like it's made of the same material as that. This is like plastic, like rubber or something.
I'm a Dalmatian. They want to be on the go all the time. They're an active animal.
I'm scared, Nick. I really hope I don't have a good dream about this. I am getting scared. Jesus Christ.
I actually munch on bonios, which are proper doggy biscuits. But there's
that can't be good. There's no way that eating food that can be processed by dogs. Humans can't. Does a plays with food for it. It needs plenty of kittle from a big dog bowl. He eats up on the table. He has his giant mitten things. It looks just like, especially that rubber suit. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Imagine getting a stitch in a suit and break a goddamn dick off to it. Good lord. His costume costs £4,000, which is tailor-made just for him. I mean, we're getting into like furry suits. Like people throwing down some real dough. You can buy a goddamn used car for that much money. Are you kidding me? Which he looks, I just want to say, it could not look more horrifying. I don't know who would ever look up to this and say, how cute. See this walk around the corner? I mean, if I was like, yeah, man, I'll pick you up. What's going on? Or like his friend Rachel, you go to her house and she's just like, yeah, my friend Tom did. Hi. And then walk on the floor. I mean, I would scream like a girl. I would do like that. I would seriously have that kind of thing. And Tom is a show dog, as he was the first person to win the Best Puppy Award in 2015 at Puppy UK. But this, unfortunately, had its own consequences. As Tom was so focused on embracing the pup lifestyle that his relationship with his fiancée Rachel was strained.
His friend Rachel.
Yeah, that was so I guess you can stay here, eh? Fighting in the UK is a bit tough, eh, Tom? He's like, woof, woof. Though they are no longer engaged, Rachel is still friends with Tom. Almost every day, she plays fetch with him and helps him train for his competitions. She claims Tom's a much happier person, and she wouldn't have it any other way. Fired. Yeah, fucking right, dude. Given the documentary, it seems like she's definitely holding on to the idea that maybe one day she'll be like, I just think I'm done with the pup stuff. Would you want to re-date me? It kind of, like, the reindeer thing, you gotta get all that right. That kind of bit of desperation. Very sad. Big reindeer, sure. Yeah, dude. Yeah, which seems very in character for her. You know. Would you rather be in a Disney doll or would you rather be in the pup play?
Disney doll.
I honestly think I would rather be in a pup play than be a Disney doll. I think I can confidently say that. After the separation, Tom moved in with his handler, Colin, who makes sure Tom has food, water, and plenty of scratches. Switches? Plenty of scratches. That's the Reddit definition of scratches. Jesus. Christ. Nick, you're trying to kill me, dude.
Do you think if Tom wasn't Spot though, that you'd be back together?
How are you guys? That's good. Yep.
The problem is I don't think I'll ever get rid of Spot in my mind, in my life, my body, and my soul. I'm happy as this. Puphood needs me, and I need the puphood. We are one.
I don't think that could have read any more like Willem Dafoe talking to the Green Mask and Spider-Man.
It was really good.
I need Puphood, and Puphood needs me, Spider-Man. I feel sad. Like, I feel bad, but I'm like, dude, move on with your own life. Holding on to like Tom is not Tom anymore, it's Spot. It's easier for him to choose the Spot thing because it's like you literally don't have to face any of your problems as
Take the dog out.
kind of sad. Next up, we have Coco.
Did I?
Attention for his unusual hobby of dressing up his dog, posting videos on his YouTube channel. I want to be an animal. He spent approximately 2 million yen or $15,000 on his highly realistic dog costume of a border collie. Witness to a dog. Border collie. His transformation has provided him with a sense of comfort.
Every time I forget something.
That's scary than Spot. You would step like his house as soon as you got from the walls. This is legit like something like a horror movie. This is fucking... of feels like if somebody had a dog that just died and then they made it into an animatronic is what it feels like now. It's because there's no life in the face at all. It's so unbelievably uncanny. Oh, missed the paper the first time there. I will play tennis today. That wave could not have looked more human. I mean, I feel like I'm watching the Poughkeepsie tapes. Who's the person bouncing the ball, and how do they have this free time to be doing this shit, dude? Seriously, I have to go to work. He's like, only a few more balls, please, just a few more balls. While Toko has received support and admiration from some of his admirers, he has also faced backlash and misunderstanding. Some people view his actions as eccentric or fetishistic. But Toko insists that his hobby is purely about his love for animals and the joy he finds of play acting as a collie. I don't think that's true, but, you know. God. It's like human centipede diagram.
When I first read this story, I thought, they said they spent $4,000. That was like a Tusk situation where he like chopped like his...
Yeah, broke his limbs up or whatever. And while most pups are male, but there are some females within the group, such as Meow the Twitch streaming dog. She has recently been in the public eye due to her collaborations with Turkey Tom and Ms. Kip and their videos about her. I'm pretty sure Ms. You just kind of look like Turkey Tom's video. And just put that out there. Meow has over 15,000 regular Twitch viewers that watch her embrace the life of a dog. Which also I want to say, I just don't like the idea that I'm Meow. She's doing a fucking dog, dude. I don't find it cute. Call yourself Bark or Wolf. I don't give a Meow claims that once she was able to afford to live on her own and become a grown-up, she wanted to dedicate her life to becoming a full-on dog. Not bound by mama or daddy anymore. I have become dog. Donning fake ears and a tail, Meow enjoys eating dog food, sleeping in a cage, and even shitting outside. She said she chose the name Meow out of irony, similar to naming a Chihuahua Kong or a Russian Mastiff Tiny. Fuck that. I don't like that, Nick. But who am I? But I just think, come on, dude. I don't like people that have a drawer named Kong. Ton that little motherfucker.
She actually bit my leg. Bad dog. No biting.
Why do you think that girls don't wear the dog mask?
They look like dogs.
Damn, Nick. Jesus Christ. Next up, we have kitty play. This is for those that like to be more independent and have a sense of curiosity, much like a cat. Kitty players typically have a playful side, engaging activities like batting at objects, chasing toys, drinking milk, and using their instead of shitting outside, they like to shit in their house. How fun. Conversely to pups, kittens are dominated by females, with very few males within the scene. Sorry, men. Step it the up. Can we? Can we get some men in the kitty play, please? Nick, this is what I want out of my viewers. If there's a guy who's like, I want to get in the funny play, Dad, become a cat. Don't be a fucking pussy. Just like pups, kitties often use gear and accessories such as cat ears, tail plugs, and sometimes mittens or paw gloves to enhance their feline persona. According to the Kitten Play subreddit, there are certain rules that the kitties and their handlers must abide by. Handlers are responsible for giving the kitty a different name, petting the cats, putting the cat in cages, collaring the cat, disciplining the kitty, taking the kitty for walks, letting them roam as a cat outside, controlling the kitty's food, giving kitty treats, buying kitty toys from the pet store, having the pet learn tricks. But we all know that's not happening because the kitty is their own person. He's stubborn, am I right? While the kittens are required to only be able to crawl, not being able to speak without permission, and instead only using body language, purrs and meows to communicate. Being a kitty play honestly seems like it doesn't seem good. I guess be a pup. I don't know why I suggested men do that. But next up we do have pony play. Which is this gonna dive into bronies at all? Are bronies a part of pony play? The majority of people who role play as ponies enjoy the showmanship and performative nature of being a pony. These often include competitions that show off their strength and grace, such as pulling chariots or wagons. Wow, look at that. Did you like that? Ponies will focus on mimicking the gait and motions of horses. This can include trotting, contouring, and galloping on both 2 and all 4 legs. Which I like. Galloping on 2 legs? Is that fun? It's a little dance. Ponies will equip themselves with bridles, bits, saddles, hoof boots, and tails. Not to be confused with hobby horses. There's one hobby horse. Wait, what? Also, they're not bronies. put that out there. I thought they might have been, but they're not fucking bronies. Don't say that. If you think that the bronies, you're a fucking idiot and you should be curb stomped out in public. Don't make me nay. But lastly, we're going to talk about hue cows, which are human cows. Human cows, or hue cows, is a fetish subculture that is focused around role-playing as a cow and breast lactation. You always got to save the best one for last. Hue cows, of course, adorn cow-themed outfits using props of cow bells and horns, and of course, behaving in ways that mimic a cow's behavior. The dominant partner in the relationship is a farmer, and many hue cow enthusiasts focus mostly, I'd say, on the lactation, the milk part. Whether that be through pumps or natural means, if you're a hue cow, you're going to get pumped eventually somehow. It feels aggressive reading that way. This can involve hormone therapy, regular pumping, and other methods to induce milk production. That's crazy. Putting hormones in your body, cow-themed body modifications, such as udder piercings or tattoos resembling cow patterns, are sometimes part of the hue cow subculture. Sometimes you gotta modify it, dude. You gotta real risky business. Hue cows also sometimes partake in grazing, mooing, and being herded by pup players. Cross-pollination here, huh? It really does come full circle. Which there are some controversies that come around these pet shows. The biggest course of discussion is, should you be able to show your kinks or fetishes in a public space like this? Is it wrong to force people to be around these kinds of things as well? To partake in your fetish? Because in a way, having other people or strangers see you as this seems to be a part of the fetish as well. Because I think people seem to think like, right? As long as you're not hurting anybody, I feel like you can do whatever. But whenever it's out and about and you're shooting in public, you're pissing in public, are you hard while you're shooting in public, like pissing? Like, what is happening? You know, who are you putting this on that did not want to be put in the situation? I think it's where people are a bit like, I think the pet play thing seems to be it seems to be a bit odd in public. You know, to conclude the video is, as always, do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting others. And I would say, it seems that a lot of these people do these things to help with social anxiety and help come out of their shell. And some of them just get genuine happiness out of it. And I think, why the f not, man? These people process trauma and all kinds of things in different ways. If you want to dress up like a fucking cat or dress up like a goddamn uncanny border collie and that just makes you happy, then why not, dude? As long as it doesn't affect others, I think it's all good. Do what you gotta do to love yourself, and for the love of God, don't impose people on anything on some selfish gain. You know what I mean? Don't go up to some stranger asking for belly scratches, dude. That's f***ed up. Alright, don't take a on someone's lawn. I guess it's just what I gotta say. But I just found it kind of interesting. It's a weird kind of piece of subculture of the human experience, and you know, I've been seeing more of it pop up lately, so I just thought it was out as well. Until next time, everybody, woof woof, meow meow. I'll see you next time.
¿Dónde está Tita en el speaker? You want the secret battle?
Yeah, you like options. Big options, guys. Love options. Sure, you'll buy a car once you've seen all your options. 45,000. Look, another option.
No. You're all trash, all trash, all trash, all trash, trash.
How you doing? How you doing? Come on and sit on down because today we're talking about disgusting people doing disgusting things.
You guys don't have to worry about it.
It's not safe. Kevin is living on how he doesn't even understand.
That is very dangerous.
Ah! The spring is right around the corner. You know, getting things nice and organized, throwing out some of the unusual junk, which I'm all for.
Hold that L, buddy.
Just in case.
Just in case, you never know. But today I wanted to take time to talk about one of my favorite things, people collecting trash and being unable to throw things away because emotionally they are connected to them somehow. I love the idea. I'm
As in gold.
throw away a bucket. Your mind gets attached to a bucket. Almost like dead rats or something like that. And you're like, I need it. I can't live without this bucket. What is a hoarding disorder? If you've never heard of hoarding, this is what it is. There is a misconception that hoarders are simply lazy people who don't want to clean or organize their living space. In reality, it's much, much more complex. It actually became recognized as a mental illness, one that leads to people struggling to part ways with their possessions. It becomes a necessary comfort to keep these items, and discarding them can lead to intense emotional distress. That's what you're talking about. the first catalyst to a hoarder is whenever the kids have those on the back of your door, the Hot Wheel collector thing. It's weird. It's like, look at my Hot Wheel collection. You shut your door, that thing would do. I swear to God, that is the starting point to emotional stress collecting. I gotta fill them up. Because then if anything, I remember I was like talking with this friend of mine. I was like, you have 3 of these. There's like 200 slots on the back of them. He's like, I don't. So he just started putting all kinds of shit. He'd find like twigs and rocks from outside, break them and like put them in the thing. It felt like a I was like, all right, man, cool. Mom, come pick me up. Many feel the need to hold on to their things as a way to feel like they have a sense of control over their lives. People experiencing dementia, OCD, or depression can sometimes find themselves experiencing these same tendencies. Maybe you're depressed. Better hold on to some of this stuff. Over time, however, this comes at a cost of their own personal health. Their living space can become cramped, dangerous, and covered in health violations. It often leads to isolation, which erodes relationships with friends and family. Which the first case I think of is that one that was people were talking about a lot, was the girl who hoards her poop.
This house has a septic issue.
Oh yeah, we got that in there.
Okay, good. We're talking about the poop hoarder.
There's still some space in the toilet, but I don't want it to overflow.
My grandma's kind of a hoarder. I had to clean her house.
Your grandma was a hoarder? Like really? Or you're just like, what are these dolls? I can see you bullying your grandma, dude.
Nick, leave me alone. I cleaned her house for free. I spent 2 days.
Touch me there.
No, I didn't make it.
Grandma.
She had dog shit like stamped in the carpet.
Oh, see, that was one of the reasons why I hated going to my grandma's retirement home. Old dementia kooks walking around and stuff. One had a cat that was dead, like, was under the bed, and like nurses would try to come in and clean up, and she's like, "Get out of here." She like freaked out. It's horrifying to be an owner of a retirement home like 30 years ago or whatever. Gold mine. Oh my God, just put them in a closet. Come see them at Christmas. There's 5 stages hoarding. Level 1, one who feels the compulsion to collect things but has kept it to a minimum. The home is still easy accessible. I think that I'm at a level 1, or maybe a level 2, which is how, I mean, if you look around just the things I collect, I think anybody who's like collects a little something, everyone has a moment in time where they're like, what is this? That's, well, see, for me, it's like I'm just so fat, all my clothes doesn't fit anymore, and my wife's like, you should just get rid of these. And I'm like, oh, I'll slim down. I wonder what it is with hoarding.
I had that. They used to throw away shit.
What is? I wonder what that is for.
Well, just more like I have no use for this.
I think my sister has that. My mom will buy her like a new couch or whatever, and she's like, "You just take up too much space." And she's like, "Throw it like so you don't have a couch in your house. It's just like a folding chair and a TV. Bob's Burgers playing on the TV." You're like, "All right, dude." Or we can talk about level 2. Well, not too extreme. There's noticeably more garbage and old food laying around. Perhaps animal waste as well. I've even had somebody wreck out food and shit, but it's not even like easy to throw away. You're like, well, I might eat it. Like pizza crust that's like just like as hard as a rock. It's good stuff, man. Pizza shop cracker crust, oh, good stuff. Level 3, a nasty odor begins to ruminate. And bedrooms and bathrooms become unsanitary and unusable. Items begin to collect and stack, taking up a more noticeable amount of space. And then you move into level 4. The odor becomes unbearable, and an abundance of animal feces, bugs, and rodents infest the house. At this point, the junk makes it hard to navigate the property. I like how you actually become like a freak bed after a while. You literally just have like a labyrinth forming. That's what you lives in. And of course, lastly, level 5, the end of the road, the worst stage, where everything is elevated. This can pose great risk to health, as sections of the house will be permanently damaged from the horrible conditions. In extreme cases, bottles of human waste can be found as well. Well, yeah, dude, and at this point, you're like, I don't know, out of here. You know what I've seen a lot with hoarders is like newspapers and mailers and shit. Can you imagine not being able to throw away dumb mailers? Holy credit card offers and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. You never know. Well, I remember I saw one where the guy was like, gee, I'm eligible for $500, eligible for $1,400 credit. Many people find themselves drawn to the extreme level of hoarding. Let's talk about some of the weirdest and most real examples of what's happening in the world. Starting off with Japanese hoarding. A Japanese woman online known as Shirokuma Tiandedesku Uzuki. What is this? Oh, we play Mad Libs here with the deal. Oh, come on, like this is her name.
Sharo Kumadendesuki 4444.
Whatever. That's her. I don't know what I can tell you. Why can't it can just never be like Sarah, like racist gonna say. Why can't her name be Sarah? A Japanese woman online who gives people a
No.
dive into a young hoarder trying to live her life in alarmingly bleak housing conditions. The photos here, my God.
I thought this was fake. She was showing how she made like stew. She was like putting carrots, and then there's like cockroaches and stuff.
I can see it.
No, but it's real. Unless she just owns a house and throws garbage in.
Well, it might be that. Or even just committing to the bit. Like, I'm not really a hoarder, but like this clicks, so fuck it, I don't give a shit. That's like a grub human thing, right? Her content mainly revolves around her cooking meals, but people became alarmed at the incredibly cluttered rooms. In many videos, it is clear that her apartment has been grossly infected by hordes of insects. Supposedly, she has not paid rent in over a year. That's awesome. I'm just not gonna pay it. And began wearing an outfit consisting of overdue payment and eviction forms. You can see these forms decorated all over her room, making a outfit out of people being like, we're gonna take you out. She's just like, fire. But over time, her trash began spreading to neighboring apartments and businesses. Her apartment became so much of a fire hazard that firefighters had to break inside the building to forcefully remove the clutter. She's open about her battle with mental health, but has not made much progress throughout her time online. I feel like the worst thing you can do is take your hoarding obsession and make it into a content generator. You're just totally enabling the person to be like, this is awesome, you're a freak. And she's like, awesome, that's engagement. If you were a firefighter and you broke into just like a person's house and they're a hoarder, do you have to keep a professional face? Because the person's got to be right there, right? You break in and they're like you see like the top of their head and their eyes. Or like sack. Do you think people are like, oh my god? Or is it more just like stoic and calm?
They probably say this is a fire hazard, lady.
It's the first thing to say. They break down the hinges of the door. This is a fire hazard, lady. Drag her up our ankle.
My brother worked at Got Junk and he used to go dejunkify hoarders' houses. So they would have to remove the hoarder from the house.
They stopped him from the collecting shit. They're like, no, not that thing.
This is all contaminated. No, it's not. Yes, it is. This is unhealthy. It has to be burned. I can't even throw this. I'm not allowed to throw this at the dump. This has to go be fired up and burned.
I mean, they don't force it, but I think they're just like, are you ready? And I think that they're like, but I think they're outside like throwing up and like shitting themselves and stuff. They're like, no, you know, that kind of thing. Wait, we want to thank today's sponsor, Bad Dragon. We here at Coffee are very, very good friends with Bad Dragon, and we want to take time to thank them for being an amazing
Suck it.
sponsor.
Suck it. Suck it.
Bedroom, or even for yourself, consider going to Bad Dragon and getting a little something on the sexier side. We've been to the factory, we've seen how the cookies are made, and let me tell you, the cookies are sweet, the quality's amazing. So if you're looking to spice things up, please consider going to our dear friends Bad Dragon and just check it out and see if there's anything for you or a loved one that may be amazing. Thank you, Bad Dragon, for sponsoring this video. Back to the video. But let's go back in time a little bit, right? We need to go back in time to appreciate what some called the first hoarder house, the first recorded hoarder house, which is called the Collier Mansion. In fact, one of the first and most famously known cases of hoarding took place inside a mansion.
I smoked you guys, okay? I smoked them. It was great.
Everything's a trophy now. The Collier brothers, Homer Collier and Langley Collier, were born to an unfathomably wealthy American family. Upon their death, they left their luxurious estate to the two of them to live together in. If you were super wealthy, would you be like, we're gonna live together forever, bro?
If I was tight with my bro.
You would live with even because you were tight with your brother, you would live with him forever.
Yeah.
You would never establish a sense of independence for yourself.
Well, it's like him and Harry, dude. They're already doing it.
I guess that's true. You're already doing it with Harry, I guess. The death of their family had a massive impact on them, causing the brothers to isolate themselves in their new home. This was exacerbated when Langley began to go blind in 1932. What started as Langley collecting things he enjoyed, like toys and books, slowly turned into filling the place with an assortment of junk. Not only did this include things like camera equipment or random furniture, but even jarred organs that belonged to his father when he worked as a doctor.
What?
He's like, this is Dad's spleen. He's like, it's not mine. I just have it in a jar. Langley, who was unable to work or tend to himself because of his worsening blindness, was cared for by Homer. Their home was broken into multiple occasions, and in response, Langley used his obscenely large collection of stuff to create a maze that would stop intruders from finding their way in. That is, this is the premise to a horror film. What the fuck was that movie? Don't Breathe? Is that what it's called? Whatever the dudes break into the blind dude's house. Remember, which to be fair, he's doing like a Home Alone, like Macaulay Culkin thing in that movie. But can you imagine you go in, it's a maze, and it's just like, welcome. You've made your choice. The smell was becoming unbearable, reaching far beyond their property and towards their neighbors' homes. In response, the city council offered to clean the house, but the brothers refused. One night in 1947, a nasty, rotting smell led to a neighbor calling the police. Officers were sent to inspect the place, but physically could not, as the windows were reinforced with iron bars. There were so many piles of junk at the entrance that an officer had to break in on the second floor just to avoid the impenetrable wall of filth. Which I love this picture here. It looks like a Buster Keaton movie. The guy's just like, don't worry, I'll get up there and see if I can fish him out myself, boys. After 5 hours of digging, They found Homer's body. It was perceived he had died from starvation as well as heart disease. Langley was nowhere to be found. People were confused, and the narrative became a story in which Langley killed his own brother and called in the tip himself before fleeing the country. However, after 3 weeks of deep cleaning the Collier mansion, it was discovered that Langley was home the entire time, buried 10 feet away from where Homer's remains after being crushed by his many possessions. This is a Greek tragedy right here. Their story was one bred from severe untreated trauma and mental health struggles, leading to the debilitating need to hoard their belongings. This event led to the phrase Collier's Mansion, to be used by firefighters to refer to a home belonging to a hoarder. How is this not a movie? This feels prime for a movie.
Make it a horror movie too.
You can make it a horror movie, but it could also be something where you can just, especially Hollywood, whatever. You know what they do? They throw like a ghost in there. I have to collect. What's wrong, brother? One guy gets trapped haunting the place or whatever. I can't leave.
Maybe that's how they stop the ghost.
We can't let this evil out in the world. Stack up Dad's jar of organs. This is like you could be. You can probably.
Damn it!
1408 is like John Cusack goes to a hotel and like this room is supposed to be haunted. It's like a really surrealist shit where he like tries to leave but like won't let him leave. All that kind of stuff. Whatever. It's actually not a bad movie. Or we could talk about a hoarder who owns 300 to 500 animals. Weird scale there. It's in that range. This year, Warren County humane officers were randomly called by a woman from the hospital. She admitted that she had a serious hoarding problem and that her 200 animals were home alone and in need of care. Like now it's 200. All right, easy. Well, let's see what happens here. When they arrived at the location, they were shocked to find that she greatly downplayed the situation. Not only was the home already covered in dead animals, but they found between 300 to 500 in total. I want to know the day she faced that demon, though, where she's like, yeah, I might have a bit of a problem. I think I might be a hoarder. They found stacks of rodent cages containing hamsters, gerbils, and rats. That would freak me out. That would freak me out. In a horrific scene, several huskies were found dead in the backyard. Only one was still alive when the humane officers arrived. And the animals were transferred to a shelter as it was more than obvious that the woman was not approved. Be careful. Was that nice? I'm wondering how much of it is like, does she steal other people's animals and bring them in?
The breeding problem. My aunt had that. She let in like.
How many members of your family are you talking about in this one too? Good lord.
My aunt, she would like feed stray cats that started breeding, and she had like 30 in her house.
Oh, they were breeding inside of her house?
Yeah, because she's like, well, I feel bad for them. When my aunt went out of town, my mom was watching her house, and the first day she found a dead cat. Granted, they knew it was gonna die.
Startled my cousin. Or we can talk about the hoarder junkyard, which created a fire hazard. Which I feel like, are these all not fire hazards? Let's see. In 2024, an LA. Okay, so an LA family became fed up with their neighbors' hoarding habits. Alina Malone and her husband Josh purchased their dream home in 2021. They spent $1.2 million on it, convinced that this would be their home. Their neighbor, however, would collect an insane number of items that would eventually spread to their backyard. Over time, his 5-acre property became a dangerous junkyard filled with absurd objects, refrigerators, shipping containers, burnt car batteries, and piles of moldy clothes. There are 114 vehicles total, some of which are believed by highway patrol to be stolen or previously used to enact crimes. Alina knew things had gone too far when she was unable to visit her husband, who was in the middle of chemotherapy. He was vomiting uncontrollably, and Alina physically
Damn it!
to pick him up because a car was blocking the front gate. What do you do to when you're just like, hey, move your shit? Do you think is the guy just like, or do you even see him? Is he like a mystery figure? Not only was this a fire hazard, but the area they lived in specifically was no stranger to harsh weather conditions. Because if a rock falls on the ground in LA, it blows up in flames. The owner of the property believes that her son's hoarding started after their house was destroyed by fire in 2017, which led him to feeling the need to constantly scavenge for materials. What? District 9? Like, what are you talking about, dude? The house is down. We need wood. We need firewood. This kicked off the bad habit. I had only worsened over time due to other possible trauma. The Malones are forced to wait until the city clears out all the numerous cars in the neighborhood. Only then can the LAPD enter the property, according to Alina. It seems that nobody will really be pushed to fix the issue until another serious disaster strikes. I love how that one ends of just like, that's just her life now. Forever stuck in her house, her husband on chemotherapy, is still there. You know, he's fully recovered now with a new family. He has a full head of hair and couldn't be happier right now. She's just in the gate, though. She just orders DoorDash and just like, reach for the gate. Do we just throw it? Just throw it! Or, in 2022, Robert Elsing was found dead, buried underneath a pile of garbage. It's just great when the sentences start off like that. Here it is. Police were called in after his neighbors noticed his mail began to stack up on his front porch. Like, what do you mean stacked up? The guy's just like... Police were called in after his neighbors noticed his mail began to stack up on his front porch. It seemed that he had trapped himself inside his own hoarded possessions, possibly dying from asphyxia. He suffocated amongst his own trash, which I guess, like, looking at the pictures here, that is insane. No! Investigators were told by his neighbors that Robert's mother passed away 10 years ago, but there was no record of this available. When one of Robert's storage units was put up for auction, the new owner was shocked to find that amongst more piles of garbage, there was a box that contained the skeleton of his dead mother. Robert decided to hide her death to keep it off record and continue collecting her Social Security and retirement payments. That's the thing too, is he was trying to swim through the trash in his house, and like the mailman was just like throwing the checks at the door, and he's like, "Can we just throw it?" Man, imagine finding you like in store. That's how you know this shit sucks. You didn't find one skeleton once. There's not one dead woman, and yeah, this is a crazy buy. Or in 2016, a senile Brooklyn woman named Rita Wolfenson. A senile Brooklyn woman.
Take her pick.
Yeah, honestly, buddy, that's all. In 2016, a senile Brooklyn woman named Rita Wolfenson had been inadvertently living with the skeletal remains of her son for up to 20 years. What do you mean inadvertently? He left one day. His like full corpse is just like there on the floor. Rita was not only a hoarder, but she was completely blind. Nah, okay. Don't start me off with like, nah, she's senile. Nothing else. Just kidding, she's blind. One day, she was in the hospital and needed a relative to go to her house to pick up a few things. When her sister-in-law arrived, the house had a pungent, rotting smell. She soon discovered a skeleton laying on his back on the floor. He was still fully dressed and seemingly untouched. 20 years in the same outfit, dude. Law enforcement described the scene as being straight out of a horror movie. Rita was totally convinced that her son simply moved out and wasn't reaching out to her. A funeral was prepared over a decade after his death. So I like how she's just like one day she's just like just totally not even didn't even want to say goodbye. I think she's gone. There's no way she didn't triple it. She accepted it because she just didn't care. I've been in a room where my dog has taken a shit, and like it's just immediately noticeable. If you're blind, your sense of smell is going to be way off the charts with that. You go hearing like wheezing and shit. We can talk about a hoarder's house that was engulfed in flames. Jesus Christ. That's got to be like a superconductor, doesn't it? You like one match in a hoarder's house, it's gone. Barbara Verboven. These are great names, by the way. Barbara Verboven was a former member of the Greenwich Board Education before becoming greatly ill, which led to her being cared for by her 42-year-old son, Dean. My name's Dean Verboven. Why do you look so, like, suspicious? I'm Dean Verboven. The state of the home began slow decline as Barbara spent her days glued to her bed, unable to do anything but eat, sleep, and watch TV. Fast forward to 2016, the home was in an unbearably bad state, which infuriated her neighbors. They believed it made the entire neighborhood look hideous, on top of it being a safety hazard. No one cares. Eventually,
dude, push up!
Were directed to enter the home and clear out the mess. This infuriated Dean. And to get revenge on those responsible, he decided to burn down his own home before they could arrive. All right, okay, Dean, I'm Dean Verboven. Dean was killed in the process, either from a self-inflicted wound or being trapped in his hoarder den and unable to escape in time. Barbara, however, made it out with only a few injuries. How the f did Barbara make it out, dude? What was Dean hiding in there? His birth certificate that said, I'm Dean Verboven. You go in that house, I'll kill myself. We get into a nice little true crime thing here, which is the duck sauce killer saga. What's duck sauce?
Duck sauce is the sauce.
Is that just a normal thing, duck sauce? In a strange story from 2022, a hoarder murdered an innocent delivery driver over his strange desire to collect duck sauce. I really feel we are in the end times somehow. One night, a Chinese food delivery man named Z110 was shot to death in Queens. Police began to investigate the murder. After talking to the staff of Great Wall,
28 seconds.
they discovered the existence of suspicious customer named Glenn Hirsch. One day, a man named Glenn Hirsch ordered takeout from Great Wall and became infuriated at the lack of duck sauce in the order. He was denied a refund, which sparked several months of intense harassment towards the staff.
It's gonna pop
The
up over
50-year-old
here.
customer was known to destroy employee vehicles and slash their tires. And in one instance, he confronted the owner and pulled a gun on him over duck sauce, dude. God. Glenn asked the owner how his car is doing before saying, "Remember me? I will kill your entire family." That's a direct quote. Remember me? Quack, quack. After quack, quack. Z-Wen helped wrestle the gun away from him, and Glenn vowed to get his revenge. Z-Wen was just like, give me that gun. Weeks later, Glenn Hirsch was arrested after surveillance video revealed him circling the restaurant for hours as he waited for Z1 to come out. The video shows the entire encounter, including the shooting. He was charged with second-degree murder as well as criminal possession of a loaded firearm on top of stalking. His estranged wife was also charged for firearm possession after Glenn's stash of illegal pistols were found in her apartment wrapped in tinfoil and delivered to her. When Glenn's home was searched, police quickly realized that Glenn was a hoarder. Rooms were covered in various boxes, CDs, magazines, and bags of trash. Strangely enough, his refrigerator was filled to the brim exclusively with condiments, mainly duck sauce. 4 months after the shooting took place, Glenn Hirsch shot himself to death in fear of being sent to prison. His suicide note claimed he was innocent, determined that photographers purposely destroyed his house to make him look like a hoarder, and that the quantity of condiments in his fridge was greatly exaggerated. You, Glenn Hirsch. This felt like a flimsy defense to many, especially after photos released where you could see Glenn threatening employees at the restaurant with the gun. Look at this guy, dude. Glenn Hirsch. What a monster. Like a mental breakdown had to happen there. Your entire fridge is just condiments and it's mostly duck sauce. What do you think the obsession was?
I don't know. It doesn't sound like he liked it. Maybe just like the color.
I had a buddy one time who would keep tons of chocolate sauce, like chocolate syrup, in his fridge. And it's just because one time he became obsessed with it because one time.
Holy!
It was like the greatest moment of his life, which I was like, more power to you.
I'm actually mad about that.
We've talked about some real stuff, but we got to talk about the industry, media, cable television's effects on hoarders. And the beautiful show, one of the greatest television programs of all time, which is the Hoarders TV show itself. And we got to talk about probably the best episode. I mean, if you've seen one of the episodes before, you've kind of seen all of them.
Every house is different, unique.
I think everybody just has newspapers and, empty boxes of cereals. But there is one that stands out above all, Nick. You are right about that. Which Hoarders, if you don't know, is a very popular TV show that delves into the lives of hoarder families in an attempt to clean up their homes and help them treat their hoarding disorder. I think it never works. It's kind of like intervention. He's been clean for 2 months. Motherfucker's back on like air duster. One of the most infamous episodes is in season 6, where they visit the home of Shauna in Washington. Shauna, who already experienced hoarding tendencies, had returned to live with her mom, who was already a serious hoarder. Hoarder meets hoarder. Wonder what that outcome could be. This led to Shauna's habits becoming worse and worse until her mother eventually died from cancer 13 years later. According to Will, Shanna's brother, the condition of the house undoubtedly led to the mom's death. That guy's just like, Shanna gave my mom cancer. That's kind of like a tough thing to say, right? The house is dirty. Shanna, I hope you burn in hell. Shanna, who now lived alone in the house off disability benefits, is surrounded wall to wall in absolute filth. There is hardly a single inch of the floor that isn't stacked to the brim with garbage. The city was fed up with the state of her yard, which was covered in human waste and other random objects. They began fining her $250 per day until it was cleaned up, which led to the Hoarders TV crew stepping in to stop the city from taking away their home. Because goddamn, that's a good episode. When cleaning specialist Matt Paxton spends the night at Shanna's place to better understand her situation, it's worse than he could have possibly imagined.
This house is disgusting. It's hands down the worst smelling house I've ever smelled in my life.
This is pretty disgusting, y'all. Serious. The smells were sickening, and jugs of urine and feces were found all over, some of which belonging to her deceased mother. Not even all of it Shanna's mix. Not even in her own brew. If I was a hoarder and my mom died like that, you better believe I'd be keeping like piss and shit jugs from her. Miss you, Mom? Scattered across the floor, he found bloody tampons and black mold. That's a disastrous combo. We cannot allow those chemicals to mix. A septic issue rendered the toilet unusable, even though it remains filled to the brim with feces. Instead, she opted to use a Home Depot bucket to relieve herself. Damn good buckets.
This is her bucket, man.
Because the bucket would become too heavy to lift, she would use separate jugs and buckets to slowly transport the waste to the backyard where she would dump it out. So what am I going to do every time I go? Dump it?
What?
I had like a series of small jugs and stuff in the backyard. Without washing her hands, she proceeds to make dinner for the two of them by filling a paper bowl with canned soup and cooking it in the toaster oven. When the bowl begins to burn, she claims that that's normal.
I smell smoke right now.
Oh no, it does burn it a little bit when I put it in the toaster oven.
She's like eating microplastics, right? And then the brother comes in, he's like, what did I say? She sits down next to piles of trash and feces as she eats. And when Matt discusses the source of the smell, Shanna is absolutely shocked that it's because of the piles of human waste, rather than, quote, a musty odor due to mold and dust.
What is the main cause?
Musty odor, having to do with mold and dust.
No. Well, it's the feces and urine that's in there.
Okay, so it's still musty.
Yeah, but it's from feces.
Not because the mold and dust is getting on everything.
Dust is nothing compared to all the feces. Is that brand new information to you? To think that the feces and urine has something to do with it?
I guess so.
Spit the freak down.
The mold and dust.
After this discovery, she tells Matt, quote, "I've learned a lesson about fecal matter today, if nothing else." And she's like, "I have not even thought about a single other thing. I'm just more interested than I am." I'm not saying that I'm going to change anything. I'm just saying that I'm kind of interested. As the cleaners begin to sift through her kitchen, they're surprised to see that Shanna prefers to keep her moldy bread because she can cut off the moldy parts. When pushed to throw it out, she compares her situation to an intervention where the addict just wants to, quote, "go out in a blaze of glory." AKA, she eats the moldy expired food one last time. When they refuse to let her, she is quoted saying, "Again, why does it matter? I've been eating poop for 12 years. Awesome. And she's just like, moldy bread.
I would not eat a salad that had this.
I'm still held back.
In the end, Shanna was not deemed capable of living on her own. Resources were provided to help her move into a transitional housing so she could find a safer living condition. The house, meanwhile, was so damaged from the filth that it was cheaper to bulldoze it and buy a new one than try to salvage what was there, which you have a little before and after. I mean, it looks like a house that was holding shit. It's just like, even the after. It's insane. Those hardwood floors. My misery. Heal me up and throw me away. Of course, we gotta go to Reddit. We went to the TV. Let's go back to. Let's check out Reddit on r/child of order subreddit support group. God damn, dude. Probably could have labeled that something a little less horrific too. Child of order. For children who were unfortunate enough to be born in the living conditions of a hoarder, a subreddit was created that allowed them to vent about their frustrations and receive support. So these people who are just like, does anyone else have a problem? Hoarding. Many have discussed the intense burnout they feel trying to clean an endlessly replenishing source of garbage. Others voice their struggles staying clean with their entire home outside their room is extremely filthy. So people are like, I feel like I have to clean all the time, or I feel like I'm disgusting all the time because I'm sleeping next to Little Debbie wrappers and boxes of toasters and shit like that. You know what I mean? This is an interesting post here. It's just titled, "How do I keep my room and myself smelling clean when my house smells like mold, piss, and shit?" Literally. I shower every day, wash my hair every other day, scrub myself the down, wear deodorant, clean clothes, perfume, and lotion, but I'm still scared I smell bad because some boy said, "Ew, you guys need some new perfume, you smell," to a friend and I. They could have been joking, but still. My room, air filter on 24/7, and if I don't have that on, I have a candle on. Trash in my room gets taken out when necessary, so like 2 times a week maybe, but I feel like it could still smell, so I don't know, just need some suggestions. In the worst cases, users have been posted about how they have to call the Department of Health and Child Protective Services on their own parents just to get themselves out of their living situation. It's horrible. I guess to end this video, you know, hoarding seems kind of funny. On the surface, it seems pretty funny. When you collect trash, what the hell are you thinking? But with anything that's mentally disturbing, it's like always based in some kind of deep-rooted trauma. I could easily see people folding into a hoarding lifestyle. Hoarding is the long game. It starts off with a little something, and then you blink 15 years later, and then you're dying underneath in your own labyrinth of filth, basically. The Minotaur is putting his hoof on your chest, being like, "Good night." So if you're starting to collect things, just know that collecting things can be fun. Sometimes you don't want to think. You can get sentimental over little non-living objects, right? But if it starts being like an empty box of cereal, you really start to evaluate where you're at with your headspace. How you doing? You know, talk to somebody. And also, if you know somebody in one of these things, maybe give them a checkup. Never wrong to say hello to a friend you haven't seen in a while, right? Still in their house, they smell weird. We also found out that Nick's family got a lot of hoarders there too. You're not a hoarder, though. At least not yet. Not yet. Until next time, everybody, don't be hoarding shit. See you next time.
I'm going to teach you how to make homemade duck sauce. Never be at a loss for duck sauce again. 3 tablespoons of apricot preserves. White vinegar. Now whisk this together and take your duck sauce and pour it into your jar. Just like that. There you have it. Homemade Chinese duck sauce.
You're speaking Alo language. The perfect chocolate cereal with ice cold milk. It's presence. It's a present. It turns my milk chocolatey. All the time. Just you and me.
Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on and sit down because today we're talking about
World of Warcraft.
Play the montage.
Okay, my mom just canceled my brother's World of Warcraft account.
can be.
Isn't Falstad dead?
International addiction to an internet game.
You don't want them to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
I now pronounce me Warcraft. Together, from now until the end of time.
Today we're talking about World of Warcraft. It's gotta be the most well-known MMORPG. Which, if you don't know what MMORPG is, you definitely don't get buzzy. Or you're probably young. I wonder what the median age is for MMORPG enjoyers. I feel like that's like an older generation thing. I feel like it's more of like 30 and 30 trying to live the glory days. Yeah, the glory days of the Burning Crusade and the Wrath of the Lich King and all that jazz. People were like vanilla. Okay, dude. All right, I want to look. Can we go back to when there was like nothing in the game, please? Everyone's heard of WoW as the moral story. Somehow, some way, you've come across it in some kinds of different media, right? Maybe your friend had it. Maybe you saw it in the South Park episode. I don't know. You've definitely heard of World of Warcraft. It's been around for more than 20 years, and it's one of the most popular MMOs ever created. What else is there? Guild Wars?
Guild Wars 2! The One Piece MMO that's coming out!
Is there really an MMO? There should be, with how vast the world is. My experience with World of Warcraft was I didn't have internet growing up, so I would go to my friend's house. I had a really shitty Toshiba laptop. That still had the CD-ROM, mind you. At that time, it was like right towards the end of Burning Crusade, and I remember all my friends were playing it, and I was like, I don't think I can afford World of Warcraft. Like $15 a month. I went to Walmart and I got like a battle chest thing that I think had the original and Burning Crusade in it or something. Super stoked, and then immediately I was pissed because like immediately Wrath of the Lich King came out after that, and I was thinking, I don't got any money for this. But it was mostly just going to my friend's house either after school or on weekends and just stay up all night. I didn't really like the game. I liked like leveling up with my friends and like getting swords. Every time I'd go over, I'd just start a new character, and we would just like my friend would take Adderall, and we would just order pizzas, and we would make another level 60 character or whatever that night. I always liked instances or those dungeons. No, I don't think I ever raid, like going, especially in Burning Crusade. They had a lot of cool weird demon instances. There was one where it ends with like a dragon fight, and then the enemy has like a cool sword. It's called like Hell Cleaver. And I remember I got that. And I think whenever you have it, you spin and you attack with it. It was like a two-handed sword. I can't remember. It was big. I remember when I was a kid though. I was like, this is sick. I used to draw it and stuff when I was younger. I was like, this is awesome. Me and my digital sword. Pretty sure I even swear to God, I like Naruto. Or no, I drew Gaara with the sword. Like Naruto. That's a sword. And he controls sand, and he has a badass sword. But with all that being said, it's crazy to see millions of diehard fans who dedicate their lives to this game, still to this day. And not just streamers. Get them on me. There's like very rabid fans. People full 9-to-5 jobs, come home, and they get in with their clans or whatever and do raids or anything else. It always perplexed me. Even whenever like it was the heyday of like Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, which I'm pretty sure that was the most popular time. Even then I was like, I didn't play Dead Rising. You know, like, can we fucking do anything else besides this?
You gotta do your daily quests.
Maybe the thing is I never got to experience it with like people and be like have that kind of relationship with the game, but it was always fascinating and still fascinating. Like when I go into a stream and I see people, like there's streamers who get 20,000 plus viewers, just watching a guy sit there and like, it's just like, you look at the screen, tons of green, boots with this guy. It's like, what the, like, what? But people, they love it. They love it. They love it. And I think it's time to take a look at World of Warcraft to see what makes the game so important to people. Why is the game so important? Something that brought this idea back to life to me recently was there's some World of Warcraft drama going on. We don't have a lot to talk about. All right? It has to do with OnlyFans, which is a World of Warcraft classic guild that blew up within the streaming community. It was made by one of WoW's biggest streamers, 𝕕sภaṭ𝑒. It is a roleplay server with 100 other popular streamers in a race to defeat Ragnaros in the 40-man Molten Core raid. And you have awesome creators in it, like Mizkif, XQC, and Tyler1, who I am dubbing the world's greatest. What can't the man do?
Nothing.
At least in the confines of it. How does he be like master in the league and then you end up like ranking like a high rank in chess?
I think it's Grandmaster.
Grandmaster in chess, like fucking Magnus Carlsen. Do you know what pisses me off more than anything? Can I say something? Anybody can take this thing. I don't give a fuck.
Cap it, dude!
Seeing when I'm on my phone, doom scrolling, and I get a fucking clip
Fudge! Every time.
Shakes the guy's hand. He like readjusts all of his pieces. It's like, dude, we fucking get it. You're good at chess. Just show up on time and get the job done. Because then the dickhead sitting there like some fucking Polish guy sitting there and he's just like. The only Things Guild takes place in a hardcore server, meaning a death in the game resulted in a complete character restart. The absolute tragedy. My word. While this race factor amped up the entertainment value, it was also the cause of intense internet drama. And people love drama. The streamer Pirate Software was kicked from a guild after a controversial play that infuriated the entire internet. During a dire mall run, his streamer and his 5 level 60 friends tried to retreat during a dangerous encounter. 2 members ended up dying, and the others were quick to blame Pirate Software for not using his abilities to slow the enemies. Instead, he buffed himself and ran away as fast as possible, claiming he had no mana left to help them out.
I can help a lot. Yeah.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I walking? Look at my mana.
Savage, but come on, man.
Damn. So are we in the hardcore server or not? There's a bunch of fucking pig-faced dudes that can't get out in time. I say, guess what? Restart your character. Go on eBay and buy a character.
Elon Musk.
I think he pays like Taiwanese kids to level up his Diablo 4 account. I don't know. I am totally number 4 in the entire world. That's how Elon sounds on. I can't believe that. I'm number 4 in the entire world. But this sparked a heated debate, many arguing that Pirate Software clearly left them for dead when he could have helped. What the fuck is going on? And of course, Pirate Software doubled down, saying there was nothing he could have done.
He just wants me to sit down, grovel on my knees, and be like, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Yamato. It was all my fault, the mage. I won't do it again. I'm so sorry that
Get the
takeover
frick
broke.
off the point.
2 packs and a boss. Oh man, oh god. Next time I'll save you from the big mean 2 packs and a boss that tank pull. Are you kidding me, dude?"
But the backlash was so intense that he was eventually kicked from the guild entirely.
Pirate got kicked? Oh my god!
Good luck, buddy. In a statement on Twitter, Pirate reveals that he had received thousands of death threats and being doxxed all over the internet, including in-game, all for a stupid mistake made in a WoW server. There's almost nothing a person could do to be doxxed online, and death threats. Seeing all this crazy shit happen is kind of what sparked me to want to do this video. I'll be honest, I don't really give a fuck about the drama. I really don't care about the video game itself. I'm more interested in people's fascination with the video game. It's not about that. You came here for that. It's not about that. That's the last.
Gotta get the point.
Bye-bye. But it's insane to think that a few people dying in a video game could push a group of people to threaten someone's life, which feels stupid to say because at the same time, as I say that out loud, it's happened many times before, and probably even with this game. Sure, you can have a caveat, right? It's a hardcore server. People's lost over 100 hours of their lives leveling up these characters, so no wonder people feel so passionate about the portrayal, right? And also you're on a streaming thing, and people are tied up emotional response to their favorite creators and all that kind of stuff. I get it entirely, but still, it's a bit silly. We're in Silly Town. Put on your silly hat, we're in Silly Town.
All I know is that if my Minecraft server got deleted because of a streamer, I would dox, send death threats.
I was on a hardcore server. They didn't use their magic.
Oh my gosh.
On the enemy so I could kill them, I could help, and I got killed, and I had to reset my character. On this hardcore server, I would either, one, I would kill myself, or I would dox and I would strangle to death the person that was responsible. Those are the 2 early on. I'd either put a gun in my mouth and blow up my fucking brains, or I would dox the person that did that and I would strangle them with my bare fist. And it led me to think this. If there's people that are taking it this seriously, this event this seriously with World of Warcraft, there's got to be something I'm missing with the hype of this game, with the lore, with everything. There's got to be something I'm missing, and I want to find out where that is. Which leads us into the history of World of Warcraft. Let me shoot like a spell, like a World of Warcraft spell. I want to be like a what's the big bold race?
A Tauren.
Yeah, I'm a Tauren.
Getting milked.
I'm getting milked. I'm also one of those aliens.
Draenei.
You know my least favorite World of Warcraft race? Like racist in World of Warcraft?
No.
How'd you know? They are kind of weird, aren't they? So fucking tiny. I also hate seeing them run around the map all tiny and shit. Get out of here, freak.
You make a twink, and then the gay community stole that term.
The gay community is taking so many terms, I can't
say bad after somebody bringing them gay sex.
This video is sponsored by Magic Spoon. Reinventing your childhood one bite at a time. Magic Spoon is a perfect fit for a variety of diets because it is high protein and has no sugar. And while you're feeling good about what you're eating, Magic Spoon also has the flavors you loved growing up. Fruity, cocoa, peanut butter. You know, the trifecta. All of these flavors are loaded with 13 to 14 grams of protein and are completely gluten-free. Magic Spoon also has treats. These protein bars are crispy, crunchy, and completely guilt-free. They are a perfect snack to have in the morning or after a workout. Featuring the flavors of marshmallow, chocolatey peanut butter, double chocolate, and blueberry muffin. Each bar has 12 grams of protein, only 1 gram of sugar, and 2 grams of carbs. Plus, Magic Spoon just added their brand new granola. Try honey almond or peanut butter for breakfast and get 13 grams of protein. So why don't you treat yourself? Use my code PAPAMEAT or click the link in the description to try Magic Spoon treats or granola today and get $5 off. You can also find Magic Spoon products on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee online. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund you the money. No questions asked. So click the link in the description to go to magicspoon.com/papameat or scan the QR code on the screen for $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this video, and back to the video. Anyways, the history of World of Warcraft. I figured to understand what this game means to everyone, we should look into the history of its creation and its success, just to get an idea. Maybe you aren't familiar, or maybe you just want to stroll down memory lane, which I like to do. World of Warcraft was released by Blizzard Entertainment in 2002. That company had some fun stuff happen recently too, right? What was that in the media? I'm sure we'll figure out later.
Overwatch 2.
Oh, it was Overwatch 2, that's what it was. It was a high fantasy game that was made to be much more streamlined and intuitive compared to the other popular MMOs at the time, like EverQuest. Let's just show some footage of EverQuest. Not bad. It was such a huge success that the developers didn't even have the hardware to handle the large influx of players. People were smoking this thing like crack. They were injecting it in their veins like heroin. They couldn't get enough. People were addicted, ladies and gentlemen. People were addicted to WoW. Players were grinding through the game nonstop, with many recounting flunking out of their college classes because, and the game has constantly evolved throughout its lifespan and has a total of 10 expansions so far. 10. It's fucking crazy.
They already announced the next 2 expansions.
What were they? Is it Pandaria 2? It's a Pandaria 3.
So after the BlizzCon, we will be going back to Pandaria twice. Here to do Jack Black. She-bow!
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Once the content dries up, every 2 years, Blizzard adds new locations, items, playable races, and story elements, and raids to spice up the game. They do that every 2 years. Pretty crazy. And they still are keeping people in the seats. Despite people's obsession with the game, World of Warcraft had a long history of...
Oh my god, I thought that was a teammate. Frick.
Often people aggressively critique Blizzard for bad expansions, only to praise them by the time the next one is released. Come out and people are like, this sucks, fuck this. And by the time the new one comes up, they're like, you can't change it, it's perfect. Which I feel like is probably true with everything. But the cycle usually goes as this. Everyone gets excited about a new expansion. It's a Pandaria. Pandas. It's fun. Expansion drops, and you can play a panda and a monk or some shit. Everyone complains about the new expansion. The pandas weren't as pog as we expected. People say the last expansion was better, and you circle back to the expansion that's announced. Rinse and repeat, baby, all day, every day. We're gamers.
I bet you there are players right now saying, I miss Mr. Pandaria.
Well, I would go give back to Mr. Pandaria. Please let me go back, please. Keep doing all these vanilla re-releases, dude. Give me back the pandas. And with all these expansions ruining the game, players began to get nostalgic for the good old days. It missed the socializing and exploration that came with the World of Warcraft when it was originally released, right? Back then it was magical. Now it's all fucking corporate, man. Players felt the game had lost the magic, which pushed people to develop and run an unofficial, private, vanilla servers of the game. As Blizzard refused to accommodate the players yearning for the original World of Warcraft experience, people wanted to go back to the original days, and Blizzard was like, I'm not fucking doing that. So people took it upon themselves to do it.
BlizzCon, they're like, no one really wants that.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
Anything Blizzard does in a convention style thing is usually something funny.
Always like the Diablo mobile announcement. That was like, what? Is this a out of season April Fool's joke? And I love the response to that is, what, do you guys not have phones?
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out of season April Fool's joke?
You guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Which one of the most popular of these vanilla servers was Nostalgia's, which reached over 800,000 accounts at its peak. Almost 1 million fucking people were in this original vanilla server. And to the surprise of many, Blizzard issued a cease and desist to those keeping the vanilla servers running, forcing it to shut down on April 10th, 2016, which was about a year after its launch. People are just having fun playing the game you make, and then Wizards comes in, they're just like, hey, sir, come here real quick. Shut this fucking thing down right now. Oh, seriously. Hundreds of thousands of signatures were made on a petition to keep it running. Petitions don't, can we just say that right now? Petitions don't fucking work.
What? Change.org doesn't work?
Yeah, are you saying change.org does nothing at all? People mourn the closure of the server, hoarding together for its final.
It's Mo!
Man, my team's
Peasants!
Had like a panic attack.
My FPS must have been like 2.
My Toshiba laptop could not handle this right here, okay? And it was only a year later at BlizzCon 2017, annual convention, and it was announced.
That's why your whole team left. They couldn't handle us.
Warcraft Classic, a standalone version of the game that brings players back to the vanilla version.
Screw my KD. I have a good KD.
And also a little bit nervous to announce the development of a classic server option for World of Warcraft.
That's anything good.
32,000. What the?
Profitable decision, one that brought in millions of dollars.
That guy's got 32,000 kills with 3 guns. That's crazy.
Play classic servers and retail.
More people probably play the classic version than the retail version. Or did they realize you can be a panda? Do they realize you can be a panda and go experience Kung Fu Panda in World of Warcraft? Are they aware? Also, I want to say this too. Mr. Pandaria probably could have been. It could be. People could love it. I just remember seeing that. I think I stopped playing it. I have not played it since then. I just kind of see stuff from here and there. Have not kept up with it. Don't know if it's good. I just remember seeing Mr. Pandaria and being like, that looks really gay. That was the first.
I got an
thing
hour.
I was being offensive.
I gotta get more wins.
That looks gay. It was fucking. I think it came out the same time like a Kung Fu Panda movie came out. I thought it was a sponsored meme or something like that. I don't know. Sue me. There's not always rainbows in World of Warcraft, right? I mean, we could talk about some of the horror stories in this community. Also, I like how we listed one thing. Did you feel like that was a comprehensive history? I hope so. Do we talk about Leroy Jenkins in this? We didn't even talk about, in the history of World of Warcraft, we never even brought up Leroy Jenkins. So let's... Leroy Jenkins! Well, if you want more of that, I'm sure there's channels out there that'll give it to you. Because we just want to get into the dark side of World of Warcraft, apparently, because we're little f***ing heathen goblins. On r/WoW, which stands for World of Warcraft, the post says, what's your biggest guild scandal story you know of, or have been involved in? And someone said, so many. The first one here says, guild member, instead of just going, hey, this isn't really working out for me anymore, but thanks for having me for 2+ years, guild quitting. He faked their own death, and then 3 months later logged in to G-quit all their tunes and realm transfer. I read that as if, like, I thought I was like reading Latin after a while. What the f does G quit all their tunes mean?
Tunes are characters, so he probably had multiple characters in the guild, and so he logged in real quickly, G quit, so guild quit, and then realm transferred them off completely.
Why does that? Why did he just do that to begin with?
And it probably didn't want to hurt their feelings.
Oh, he did. So he did it because he's like, oh, if they do that, they're gonna think I don't like them anymore.
Yeah, he probably also stole a bunch of shit in the guild too.
We might not have the full story here. Okay, I never was in a guild. I just play with my friends all night. I didn't know it was such a big deal.
I play by myself and just raid.
You just raid by yourself?
And then I was working, so I never talked. And
F out of here, kid.
Because I was scared.
You were afraid
They're
to
capping
speak.
C.
I never had a game mic. I feel like I'd just be in the room with them and you talk that. You know what I mean?
I used to be a clicker. That's a sin, a cardinal sin. Wow, you're never supposed to click. But I was a hunter, so I just had to do a rotation.
I don't know what the f you're saying. Like, I don't know what clicker means.
Clicking is where you know your abilities on the bar is where you take your mouse and go over and click the.
Oh.
Instead of clicking 1, 2, 3 or A, B or whatever.
Yeah. I do that still to level up in League. Freak out like that. I'm not keyboard savvy, so I'm always like, eh. And I can't multitask it. I don't know. I'm an idiot.
Another one says, a guild run by a wife and husband. Wife drove 2 hours to have an affair with another raider in the guild. Husband found out. Lots of shit. Drove 2 hours to try and fight the guy. Look at all the rest of the conversation. If you're wondering, neither the marriage nor the guild survived.
We had that too. We had a guild that also had like a
Have
husband
2
and wife
points.
couple, and it really affected the rating when the wife was pregnant and had to go into labor. She had a healer.
Well, it's gonna happen. You know, it's like, are we okay? So, are we raiding or are we having a kid? Do we choose what are we doing here? The amount of crazy interactions guilds probably have isn't like the stories. To be like a fly on the wall.
It just blew myself up. Whoops.
WoW Tavern, and hear some of that stuff. Another post says, old raid leader played clear favorites with a new tank, cheated on his wife with the new tank, and then left his wife for the new tank. Then he went on Jeopardy and lost. The idea of an affair happening in World of Warcraft is absurd. You played really well today. You know, if you want these boots, you can have them. It's absurd. It has to be the least sexy environment ever, right?
Well, when your mind sees those pixels on screen, your brain starts.
How much of that do you think too is like them being enthralled with like the fantasy of the game, but they look at the game as an escape, and then there's someone in the game that they like or do whatever. Like, there's no lines of reality anymore.
Also, well, I mean, if you're an adult, makes sense. I remember I was like 8 or 10. I played this game called the Hava Hotel. Anyways, there was a character that was a girl character, and I fell in love. I didn't even know if they were real women.
It can happen. I will say this. I have a buddy named Aaron. They've been married. They've been together forever. They've been married and have 2 wonderful kids. So love can happen anywhere. Which I guess if you're just casually conversating with somebody, anything can lead to whatever. But if you're already married and then like an affair starts, it's so much different than people finding love. We talked about the community a little bit and some of the horrifying stuff that happens in guilds. Let's talk about some of the horrifying stories. In 2006, a guild officer named Fagin died from a stroke. And out of respect for their fallen guild member, his guildmates and friends decided to hold a funeral in Winter Spring to say their goodbyes. As wholesome as this may seem, things took a dark turn when they decided to open the invitation to alliance factions as well. The guild Serenity now caught wind of this and decided to enact a brutal raid on the funeral, leading to a massacre of attendees who were simply there to mourn their dead friend. So this is
It's the Red Wedding.
It's the Red Wedding of World of Warcraft. This frame rate.
It was a tragic day. We were mourning.
I like that everyone's stepping at their desk by their keyboard. They're like, no! No! It is that the guy died in real life, and it was like them getting together from all these people from probably different parts of the world, and they're just like, this is nice. Some guy from the Alliance is just like, we're gonna Last year, a World of Warcraft YouTuber was forced to stop making YouTube content over death threats. Mad Skills HC, a YouTuber that focuses his channel around content where he entered hardcore WoW servers to kill bot players. This is something that Blizzard has been trying to fight off for a long time via mass bans. But this man decided to take it into his own
No, I'm
hands.
not going there.
Little vigilante.
He's like the Batman of World of Warcraft there. These bots are created by players that are farming gold to sell later. Because this is a hardcore server, dead bots lose all the gold they've accumulated, which is a huge setback for these gold farmers. This has resulted in the YouTuber catching a wave of death threats. Some emails showed screenshots from Discord channels in Taiwan and Russia, where they detailed how they were going to cut off his fingers and feed them to his family.
I am going to fucking cut off your fingers and feed it to your dog!
After initially claiming his channel could no longer continue, it seems that he has continued to make bot hunting content. So perhaps he got over his fear of bot hunting.
So he didn't shut down.
Yeah, what the fuck? What? I thought he did. Well, there you go. You know, Russian bot farmers for gold. Is there a lot of money to be made in World of Warcraft?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh.
Like, could it be a full-time... Could you selling shit in World of Warcraft be a full-time job?
Probably. You could be a gold farmer. There's websites that people sell gold. You can also be a level up characters. Well, I used to follow this guy called WoW Hobbs, and people would pay him to run through dungeons to level up.
Right. We also got another post of what is the craziest WoW ruin my life story you've ever heard. And someone said, my best friend had moved west to a major city and was enjoying it after growing up in small towns. And he suggested he come out here and find work too now that he just graduated high school. He was always diligent, sharp, funny, and clean guy. He worked part-time all through high school and saved up upwards $20,000. We moved into my city, and I got him a place to live with my other friend who rented a home and a house. I showed him WoW when he came. He was instantly hooked. He was supposed to find work, but 3 to 4 months in, and he was still just playing WoW, smoking pot. Eventually, I started noticing big shifts in him.
He stopped answering calls. My other friend would say he wouldn't see him during the day and just hear him up all night. Weeks passed and I'd see him online, but he barely even responded to me there. I kept asking to hang out and he'd ignore me, which really weirded me out. I finally went to the house to confront him and see what was going on, and I was shocked. His room was literally piled with garbage, both bagged and strewn. His desk and bed were covered with black garbage bags and beer cans. The saddest part was a little nest he made for himself on the hardwood floor where he had moved his computer and would lay and sleep, leaving to smoke and bio, meaning shit and piss. Please don't show. I talked to him, I racked up his credit card completely and was behind on rent paying my friend. There was nothing I could do. I called his mom. They drove 14 hours and came and picked him up, cleaned out his room, and took him back home. He rehabilitated, but was never the same. He was never happy again, and struggled with addiction like I never. He's doing a lot better now. He moved out to a farm and lives with minimal tech and helps ranchers in the area for work. But I always remember that very dark time. Jesus Christ, this guy started playing World of Warcraft. It got so severe that he had to adopt an Amish lifestyle. Here's the thing too, with a lot of WoW players, I've seen this. I had a buddy who lived basically in his grandma's basement and just perpetually played games all day, like World of Warcraft and all that stuff too. The thing that stuck out to me was when he said the guy just stopped talking to him. I had a buddy who did that too, and I don't know why. Just one of those things. I think you just get lost in the sauce. Another ruin my life post here was my friend's family and coworkers all played WoW. In 2005, my brother started dating a girl from work, and a year later they were married. We got her sucked into the game too. They were reasonably happy until several years later he got a job working on the road. It paid really well, and they needed money because they got a little over their head with the mortgage, as majority of people do. She stayed home with the kids, playing WoW all day while he was on the road. She transferred servers with her progression guild. She spammed Battle.net looking for people to pick up groups, some empty raid slots, but when any of her IRL friends and her family offered, she'd balk and go about what a dick the guild leader was and how he'd suck the fun out of the force. We wondered what the she saw in this guild that she couldn't get any other progression guild. We thought she just didn't like us anymore. That is until she packed her shit and moved to the other side of the country to live with her fucking guild leader she met on the internet, who lived at home with his parents, who didn't have a job. She told him my brother was a violent, abusive thug that hit her and the kids. God damn! Which isn't true at all. Like I had to paraphrase that. Which that did not happen.
Liar, liar.
Liar, 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 pants on fire. She'd been trying to hide her online affairs from her friends and family by convincing us raiding with her guild would suck. They were divorced a few months later. WoW destroyed her. And luckily, as always, we get to end on a very peachy, upbeat story. Gamer couple locks children in a room to gain more. A husband and wife were sent to prison for neglecting their two young daughters, ages 5 and 6. They were found with horribly damaged teeth, covered in dirt, and visibly malnourished. Parents. Lester and Petra Huffmeyer, both 41 years old, are both gamers absolutely obsessed with World of Warcraft. Well, community, we're looking at you right now. They lived inside their mobile home and were unemployed, spending every waking hour playing the game. In order to focus on playing the game, the couple had locked their daughters inside their room for years in order to play uninterrupted. When their living conditions were investigated, it was discovered that the home was covered in mold and cobwebs, stacks of trash, debris, and even feces. Strangely enough, police also discovered a pile of used condoms under a stuffed teddy bear. They were charged with child abuse, false imprisonment, and contributing to delinquency of a minor. Lester was sentenced to 5 years, and Petra was sentenced to 3 years and 4 months. What is that even a WoW community thing? That's just a fucking monster. You know, World of Warcraft is people love it. We've seen some things here. There was so much shit that we found online that maybe we'll make another video someday. And they're like, the video is not about Blizzard, it's just about World of Warcraft. I mean, Blizzard itself has its own beautiful can of worms that we can dive into as well someday. It was something that we looked into, is just some of the horror stories of, I guess, just the kind of crazy people that play these games. And also, once again, it's with everything. It's not just World of Warcraft. Warcraft fans or gross little gremlins. I'm saying everybody's gross little gremlins. Every subsect, every internet community, every gamer community has their own little hodgepodge of misfits, right? And it's just fun to look in on it sometimes. World of Warcraft, I cannot believe how popular it still
Suck
is
it.
today.
Suck it.
Funny stuff, which there was
You're all trash.
so much stuff. Maybe we'll make another one and keep going over it because this was a nice little eye opener. So until next time, don't dox me. You should play the game. That's all I have to say.
She's right about to get to level 60. Just that far away. How do you think about this? I'm happy. Good.
Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Coming in and sit on down because today we're talking about tourists. God. I'll tell you something. Tourists are terrible. And I feel bad because I'm getting ready to be a tourist soon enough in Japan. My fat ass is going over there, and I tell you, I'm going to have the utmost respect for everything that I possibly can, but I'm sure it's impossible to be totally, 100% culturally respectable when I'm sure I'm maybe doing things out of the norm that are accepted over here. I don't know, but all I do know is that historically, online, tourists are some of the worst people imaginable. Most entitled pieces of shit you've ever seen, walking around, desecrating cultures, not really giving a good goddamn about anybody but themselves. I just want to talk about some of the terrible things that tourists have done in the world. Hell, there's probably a long list that I don't even have myself, but these are some of the ones that I just wanted to talk about. Starting with our good friend, Johnny Somali.
Oh,
Johnny
God.
Somali is a well-known IRL streamer whose claim to fame is being an unrelenting, unapologetic troll.
Why are you being racist to other people in other countries? For money! For clout! I've said it many times. I don't give a fuck. I have no morals. I'm a fucking sociopath. I don't give a fuck.
I'm a troll, dude. I'm just messing around. He became well known for traveling around different countries, harassing innocent people. And on his trip to Japan in 2023, he was seen repeatedly making racist comments and referencing the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki to innocent Japanese locals, just being a real piece of shit. At one point while on the train, he taunted several passengers about how they were, quote, going to drop another atomic bomb. He did this yet again to Japanese workers on a construction site before being screamed at and forced to leave. There was another incident inside of a restaurant in Osaka where Somali went live and purposely blasted music from his phone to annoy workers. And this led to a $1,400 fine for, quote, forcible construction of business. Which this led to a $1,400 fine for him, which is probably just a slap on the wrist. This little troll.
They asked him, like, are you making money off this? He's like, no, I don't make any money off it.
I don't make any money. I swear to God. He was found in Tokyo Disneyland Resort playing racially insensitive music to locals and filming their reactions without their consent. On many occasions, Somali's actions have led to him being assaulted by locals. Not only do internet onlookers approve of this, but Johnny himself seems to love the notoriety that comes with inciting the violence. His repeated bad behavior eventually led him to be banned from Japan. Aww. If anything, too, I bet this dickhead, I bet he's like, hey, that's awesome. I'm banned from a whole country. Epic. But instead of learning his lesson, he traveled to Israel to continue his tirade in March of 2024.
I'm glad I did.
He would continue to harass people to the point where he was chased down and beaten yet again.
Ow! Hey, don't touch me, man.
Then 2 days later, he was detained for sexually harassing a female police officer.
You a bad bitch. I swear to God. You a bad bitch. I'll take you to dinner.
Hey, Joe! After the Israel trip, Johnny tweeted that he was going to travel to South Korea next and threatened to slap a member of the K-pop group BTS. During the visit, he kissed and performed a lap dance on statues of peace, which are meant to honor victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery during World War II, so twerking and kissing it and so forth. Played obscenely loud noises on a subway, such as speeches by Kim Jong-un and North Korean propaganda music. Verbally assaulted a convenience store employee after he was refused alcohol. Then assaulted another lady by throwing an unknown liquid on her and slapping her camera out of her hands. Can we just say, great guy. Can we say that real quick? Just take a quick pause. Thank you for being such a good human being. Appreciate you. Wait! We want to thank today's sponsor, PDS Debt. Last year, half of American consumers took on debt to pay for the holidays. Oh, God. That's the cold, hard truth. Many of us will get deeper in debt during this time. God damn. On top of that, so many of us are struggling with credit card debt, personal loans, collections, and medical bills. And the system is set up to keep you there. But our friends at PDS Debt can help you with a personalized solution just for you. I wish that PDS Debt was around to help me. If you're currently struggling with debt, making payments every month, but balances don't seem to be going down, PDS Debt may be able to help. PDS Debt is here to provide alternatives tailored to your specific situation. Everyone $10,000 or more in eligible debt qualifies. And the best part is, there's no minimum credit score required. Save more while paying off debt in a fraction of the time. Start planning today. Get a debt-free analysis now at pdsdebt.com/PapaMeat. It only takes 30 seconds. That's pdsdebt.com/PapaMeat. pdsdebt.com/PapaMeat. Thank you to PDS Debt for sponsoring the video and back to the video.
At this point, the people of South Korea had had enough, and it was time to fight back. So now locals have been actively making an effort to find Johnny's whereabouts and teach him a lesson. I hope it's probably worse than just beating him up, because he doesn't seem to give a shit. Gets beaten up and he's just like, radical. The first incident was when his phone was punched out of his hands by a man who had been watching his streams to find his location. Stream sniping became a regular occurrence for Somali during this time. Then Somali and his friend Jindo were jumped and assaulted by a group of people soon after. Even groups of Korean YouTubers began hunting him down. And at one point, every single one of them went offline at the same time, rumoring that they had just located him via his stream and prepared to attack. Didn't want to make it easier to get in trouble for beating up this piece of shit. On Halloween, Johnny was punched in the face out of nowhere by a Korean YouTuber who was fed up with Somali's actions. And apparently, the assailant is another YouTuber by the name of Yoo Dal-gyong, an ex-MMA fighter and UDT, the Korean equivalent of like a Navy SEAL, who was specifically hunting Somali down. It's getting some legitimate heat. I love it. Most recently, on October 30th of 2024, South Korean Parliament caught wind of Somali's antics. He has since been banned from leaving South Korea as an investigation began regarding illegal drug use and assault charges. South Korea has intense laws prohibiting illegal drugs, and Somali may face up to 10 years for this crime. Meanwhile, the assault can lead to the max sentence of 2 years. In total, the potential fines for both crimes may reach up to
What? That was behind the wall.
$1,000. Don't let him leave. I'll just keep him for a while. Throw him in a cage. I don't know. Do what you have to do. I'm a troll! I'm a troll! Sometimes he comes over, it's like, elbow drops on his head. But this is just one of the more notable cases that happened recently that kind of led for this video to be made. And even it's weird getting ready to go to another country and to even think that you can act like this. To me, going to a country that you don't speak the language, it's not your culture. It's almost like being invited into your friend's house for the first time and you're just kind of like completely, you don't want to touch anything. You don't want to ruin anything. Their dad's just Japanese geishas. You ever see that movie Memoirs of a Geisha? DVD cover scared me when I was a kid. It actually did. I just saw like The Grudge or something like that too, and I was like, and it scared the shit out of me. In Kyoto, Japan, there's been a serious issue with what is referred to as geisha paparazzi. Geishas are women that are trained in traditional Japanese arts like singing, dancing, and playing music, and they often perform entertainment for wealthy clients during parties. As they walk along the streets of Kyoto, tourists rush to take photos of them. I mean, that video of that woman, that fat woman, like, she's getting up and she keeps taking photos, so she has to keep running up. The geisha is definitely just like walking in paths like, please stop this, but too weirded out to say anything. Good God. Maiko, or teenage geisha apprentices, are very young, making it even more inappropriate to treat them as some sort of attraction. And in 2019, the Gion, a historic neighborhood in Kyoto, pushed to ban photography. And in 2024, Kyoto has now banned tourists from parts of the geisha district. You can't go there anymore because people are just the worst. Because they're just like, look at you, so cute. This was due to the rise of aggressive tourists going so far as to chase down women and tug at their kimonos desperately to take photos. Please stop! Some would even pull out their hair ornaments and hit them with cigarette butts. The locals fear that the over-tourism after pandemic will continue to cause further harassment as well as increase in litter. Yeah, of course. Can you imagine being like, let me take a picture? Do you think that's people being like, all right, fine, you, and flicking at you to get their attention? Hey! Did I scare you? Did I get you?
Well, a lot of times they go like this. Like, don't look at me.
My God. Nick is going to Japan with me. I gotta keep an eye on your ass, dude. That was unbelievable. Or we could talk about tourists leading to animal harm. Are you having a good day? I'm here to ruin it. I hope you're having a bad day now. That's what this video is trying to do. This is a comedy video, I swear. Not only do bad tourists lead to locals being harassed, but in many horrific cases, their needless, selfish actions have led to the direct harm or killing of wildlife. Make sure to keep that smile up. You smiling? Let me see that smile. Buckle up. Like the death of a baby dolphin. In 2017, a baby Francicana dolphin was found on its own on a resort beach in Mojakar, Almeria. Is this the Chronicles of Narnia? Where the f is that? Near a large group of tourists. Oh, good God. The small animal was separated from its mother and was weakened and afraid. Was certain as a few short interactions and photos by the tourists became much more chaotic.
Oh my gosh. Do I have to do everything?
Around to let everyone take selfies with it. This photo is haunting. That is horrible. I'm sick to my fucking stomach, dude. As they cannot stay out of water for very long, the baby dolphin eventually died due to dehydration. In some of the photos taken earlier on, you can see that children were covering its blowhole. According to Marine Wildlife Rescue Group, the dolphin was scared for its life the entire time and could have been easily saved if authorities were alerted upon its discovery. It was also noted that the Francicana dolphins are an endangered species.
The threatened species only exist in a few Latin American countries and with fewer than 30,000 left in the water.
I'm getting fucking depressed. Did we have to include that the fucking children were covering its blowholes, dude? Can we not have just left it with the fucking selfie, the dehydrated selfies, dude? You just had to be like, also, the kids were putting their little fingers in its blowhole. It couldn't breathe. Oh, good. Let's talk about the death of a seal pup. In 2022, 2 tourists killed a baby seal pup in an attempt to take a selfie with it. Why do people like selfies so much? Selfies are so fucking gay, it's unbelievable. Leave it in, too! I said it, they're gay! Leave it in! The Great Basket Island in County Kerry, Ireland is home to over 1,000 seals and is often having to put up with misbehaving tourists interacting with them. The 2 of them reportedly took the baby seal from the beach and chucked it into the ocean. Afterwards, they dragged it back onto shore in order to take selfies with it. Get back over here. What kind of logic is that? What the f? Young seals spend their first 3 weeks of life being fed by their mother before they must fend for themselves. Because humans were interacting with the seal, the mom was scared off. Because of this, the pup was unable to feed, which led to its untimely death. It isn't just no-name, non-celebrities animals either, right? I mean, now even people are starting to throw things at Moodang, the little baby hippo, little pygmy hippo, which this year, a pygmy hippo by the name of Moodang, which means bouncy pork, who gives a took the world by storm after a series of viral tweets showcasing how cute and lovable and playful she was. Of a girl who's like, I'm traveling 14 hours to see Moodang, and she did that like 6 times. How much free time do you have, dude? It's a pygmy hippo. Get over it. Moodang is exhibited at the Khao Kyu Open Zoo in Sriracha Charu Brewery, Thailand. As Moodang became a viral star, the zoo found ways to capitalize on her virality by opening up a merch line. Basically, they just started throwing fucking Moodang on everything and selling it. This also just feels like torture, dude. I feel like these fucking zoos. You know what I say? I say zoos. I don't zoos, man. If you're helping an animal out, sure. Why the f do we have fat-faced f***s coming up and being like, polar bear! Polar bear! Zoos, man. Probably some guy getting paid minimum wage has like a hose spraying off a fucking like dying penguin. I don't give a shooting him in the back and shit. They even created a 24/7 live stream to see what she was up to at all times. It's awesome. Run around! Sadly, the notoriety Moodang brought to the Khao Kyu Zoo led to an increasingly misbehaving tourists, because as soon as mouth-breathing idiots get wind of anything, they have to ruin everything and anything. Hey, Moodang! Look at me! Look at me, Moodang! In order to get a reaction off the pygmy hippo, people began throwing rocks and objects onto her. When tourists made their way to the zoo to see her, some were frustrated to see that she was laying down and not putting on a show. Hand me my fucking liar. Hey! In response, many would toss things at her in hopes of capturing viral photos and videos, or simply to see her in action. People engaging in this behavior were threatened with legal action, and the zoo has since limited the amount of visitors allowed to see her at one time in order to keep things sane. They're probably paying for shit. I'm never going to step foot inside another fucking zoo again in my life. I am not fucking going to any of them. Even like fucking, what do they have up in Japan? Capybara Cafe? Why the f do I want to go to that now, dude? What a great life for you. Do you like this? A man helps a calf rejoin a herd and it leads to its death. Is this, are we just talking about animal death or is this still about tourists? In 2023, a newborn bison had to be put to death after a tourist interfered with its herd. This video might break me. It occurred in Wyoming at the Yellowstone National Park when the herd was crossing a river together. As they climbed up onto the roadway, a man noticed that one was left on its own. Seeing that it was struggling to walk up the steep hill, the man picked the bison up and pushed him the rest of the way. This seemingly good deed causes issues for wild animals, as interfering with a young offspring can often result in the herd rejecting it and leaving it behind out of fear. And they noticed that it began to continuously approach the other cars and people people on the road. To keep it from endangering innocent people, park officials ultimately had to euthanize it. In return, the man could possibly face a misdemeanor charge for disturbing wildlife, as well as charges that can carry up to 6 months in jail and a $5,000 fine. It's just excessive. Are you gonna go to your mom? Are you gonna go to your mom? Okay. Speaking of Yellowstone, there are a lot of videos of people getting too close to bison and they just get completely destroyed. Let me see this little girl get tossed up. I want to see a smile. Ah, you stupid little bitch. I love it. I like how other people just like, they left the little girl on her own. She's like, oh my god. You know, is that the Buffalo Wild Wings bison? I want more of that. Give me more child death. I like that more. Also, tourists like to fall into the hot springs and dissolve, which is fun. Tourists, we're not going to Japan anymore. I'm refreshing. Or I can talk about Chinese tourists who go nuts for jumbo shrimp. What is this life? Talking about animals getting euthanized, little girls get hit by bisons, and now Chinese people loving jumbo shrimp. During dinner at a Thai buffet in Chiang Mai, a chaotic scene takes place when a horde of Chinese tourists charge a pile of jumbo shrimp. Okay, there's no way of me saying this cannot be racist. A horde of Chinese people flooding a pile of jumbo shrimp? In a video released in 2016, you can see people shoveling shrimps onto their plates. Some are using a second plate as a utensil to shove more shrimp onto the first. Okay, I mean, I'll be honest, it's a lot of shrimp. Motherfuckers love their shrimp. Holy hell. God damn, they all look so serious too. Not one of them have a smile on their face. It doesn't look like any of them are happy to even be there. They're just like...
Chinese tourists got a lot of money, so they would go to like Thailand or Taiwan and basically be very rude.
They have that shrimp money now, huh? I want all the plates of shrimp I could possibly get. Commentators were appalled at the viral video, especially after seeing the aftermath photos revealing how much food had gone.
Oh my gosh!
I don't even want it. Nah, I'm good. I'm stuffed. I ate 2 pieces of jumbo shrimp. Nah, I'm good actually. China experienced significant food scarcity during periods like the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution. As a result, having an abundance of food became a symbol of prosperity and success. For some, ordering more food than necessary is a way to demonstrate wealth and overcome past hardships. I just ordered this because you should see camera taking effects. Like having a pair of Gucci sunglasses or something like that. Jumbo shrimp. I like this like the one slice of watermelon. We did also want to get the watermelon in there too, because watermelon pairs very nicely with jumbo shrimp. Tourists lose a boat after refusing to stop taking selfies. During a gondola ride in Venice last year, Chinese tourists were launched into the water due to selfish groups' desire to take as many photos as possible. You know me with Chinese tourists and photos, dude. Up in Alaska, when I proposed to my wife up in Alaska, we went to go see the Northern Lights or whatever.
Fudge!
There was 30 tourists with cameras, dead sprinting back and forth.
Oh my gosh.
Like, unbelievable. To the point where you were like, just take it in for a second, man. Like, they were shifting in every direction to take videos and photos, which became problematic when the gondolier had to sail the boat under a bridge. He insisted that the passengers stop standing on their seats and take photos, but nobody listened. Because of this, the boat was unable to stay balanced and tipped over. In a video posted online, you can see the groups of tourists crying as they trying to get out of the ice cold canal.
Also, these canals are fucking disgusting.
Oh my god. Can you imagine that being in... Oh my god. You know what? Good. Let them fall over, man. I've experienced my own pain. I'm not...
Fudge!
You know, we could talk about all the times that tourists go to really nice places and they like to just say and vandalize all the property there. Because that's fun. Because every place on Earth is like your job's bathroom. Ancient temple, the exact same as my Amazon warehouse's job bathroom. I can just take my car keys out and start carving my name into it. Which we could talk about tourists facing.
Oh my gosh.
Trees. One of Japan's most ancient and popular sites, Arashiyama Bamboo Grove. It is known as the UNESCO World Heritage Site, which are precious historical places representing a major stage of Earth's history. Not just Japan, fucking Earth. The planet we live on, okay? Despite the delicate nature of the site, 100 bamboo trees were found tainted with carvings in 2018. Like the pandas eat them, they can't be that cool, right? Tourists from all over the world will pass by this landmark, carving their names and other words into the bamboo to commemorate the experience. Because bamboo trees are connected to their roots, doing this not only endangers the carved tree, but the ones around it. This leads to the tampered trees being chopped down. Disrespectful actions like this could lead to tourist spot being closed down for good in order to continue preserving this historical landmark. And according to the manager of the forest, what kind of a centaur? He was past the stage of anger and feeling deep sorrow. It's that thing where it's like when you go into like a museum, is your first inclination to be like to touch things? No, you're just observing respectfully, right? Oh, this is beautiful. Also, who the wants their stupid ass thing piece of paper? God, man, people suck. Tourist and fiance try to carve their names into the Colosseum. Yeah, the Roman Colosseum. It's romantic. UK visitors.
This is horrible. This game's trash. This game's so butthole, bro.
For defacing its walls in order to commemorate his time there with his girlfriend. It was just his girlfriend, dude. She's like, look at this. Look at this. Why don't we just carve her name on the wall? The Colosseum is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Again, the Earth. We learned about this already. While Ivan Dimitrov attempted to carve Ivan plus Haley.
I joined super late and
Well, Ivan Dimitrov attempted to carve Ivan plus Haley 23 on the wall. He noticed that he was being filmed by a bystander that began verbally chastising him. This man then gave the footage to security. Love that. I love that, like, police hall monitor guy. Look at this. Cultural Minister Gennaro Sangriano referred to it as, quote, an act that offended everyone across the globe who appreciated the value of archaeology, of monuments, and of history. That's a fucking deep insult, dude. Not even just being like, it's the Colosseum. He's like, archaeology, monuments to mankind and history. You, sir, have spat in its face. I was just like, hey, bro, easy, bro. Take my demo tape. He was caught by police and faced legal proceedings. A long and apologetic letter was sent to Rome's mayor as his lawyers made a plea bargain to request, don't let it happen, dude. Fuck him. Kim.
Yeah, what can I not call? I have key. If I have key, can I not carve?
It's like, no, start your fucking car, moron. Or we could talk about teenagers who carves his name into a 1,200-year-old temple in Japan. While visiting a Buddhist temple in Nara, Japan, a Canadian teenager named Julian carved his name into a wooden pillar using his fingernails. Every Julian I've ever met, some of the weirdest fucking human beings on earth. Also, Julian, really? Took his rat teeth and was wheedling them down. He's like,
Julian, that's my name.
The young man insisted that he did not intend to insult or disrespect their culture. I put my name there because I thought the place was sick. It's gonna not just think some place is cool? Okay, fine. Regardless, actions like this can result in heavy fines and years of imprisonment. Due to his age, he likely will not be charged with anything severe. I think it should be the death penalty. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm f***ing around. Or we could talk about how tourists break a 150-year-old statue for pictures. 17 German tourists, while on vacation in northern Italy, shattered a 150-year-old statue in an attempt to take a fun photo. It's going to fall and then we'll catch it, and it will be very funny. In the video captured by security cameras, you can see the group stepping over the water to stand next to the statue. While taking the photo, a buddy on the other side jokingly pokes at him with a wooden cane. Was he a vaudeville character with the He's like, it's just like my mother used to do to us, right? As the man falls into the water, they bring down the entire statue, which crumbles upon hitting the ground. Oh, the cringe. The absolute cringe. Yeah, mein bad. Ist kommen to mein Geburtstag still? I don't know. The work known as Domina cost about $218,000 and was precious to the location.
You gotta be joking, man.
It is not known yet if the tourist will be charged or forced to pay for the damages. What? Justice! I demand justice! Or we could talk about other people smashing stuff, like when tourists smashed some Vatican statues. In 2022, an American tourist smashed 2 ancient Roman sculptures at the Vatican in a blind rage. Probably another Julian. In the Musei Caramanti Museum, an adult man entered and aggressively insisted that he speak to the Pope Francis. Obviously, he was denied the request. I want to talk to the Pope! They're like, yeah, no, we can't. He's like, oh, God damn! He responded in anger by hurling an ancient sculpture to the floor. Vatican staff and security began to chase after him, and on his way out, he toppled another one over. Oh, God. The sculptures were not fully destroyed, but severely damaged. The man was forced out of the museum and handed to the authorities. Reportedly, he had been in trouble in the past for gross indecency in the U.S. Black Friday, dude, I'm telling you. This is definitely a Black Friday Best Buy guy who's like toppling over little girls and shit. And if actions like this continue to take place, it is yet again another historical spot that will halt tourists from entering. Which I say, good. Don't let them in, dude. Gus, we're all dumb.
This is we're not going. Seriously, Japan trip canceled. We're not going. You know where we're gonna go? We're gonna go Yellowstone. We're all gonna throw ourselves into the hot springs. Or an 18-year-old American lights 7 fires in Tokyo. That's you when you're denied Asian pussy. That was a stray. I'm sorry. That was a stray. He did this not just once, but 7 times in various parts of the region. One fire wasn't enough. 7 times in total. He was arrested after being caught lighting a fire in Nihonbashi. As the police began an investigation, they were able to tie 6 other nearby fires within 1.2-mile radius to the same person. Imagine lighting 7 fires, like barely over a mile. Most instances were trash cans lit on fire. It's the same guy.
Oh my god.
When he was questioned by police to his motives, he told them that he did not remember anything that occurred. This man was arrested on charges.
Of course, Activision now does not like that I'm doing good. They're gonna make me do bad every time.
Coins from tourists. In 2018, tourists inadvertently destroyed the Ikushima Shrine's Torii Gate. This torii is placed in the middle of a bay, but is able to be visited up close when the tide is low. This is when tourists come to take photos and videos. The lower parts of the gate that are often submerged in water are noticeably damaged. Over time, tourists began shoving coins in these cracks as an attempt to bestow some kind of good luck. Not only does this donation technique fit with traditional donation practices, the cracks are being enlarged due to the coins and slowly destroying the torii. Over time, it is believed the gate will be severely damaged if this practice continues, which we all know that it will. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be destroyed because people are terrible. And then lastly, we're gonna talk about a couple who tried to steal over $1 million in wine for tourists. We're going to steal $1 million in wine. Last year, 2 tourists were in prison for stealing $1.6 million in bottled wine. Priscilla, a former Mexican beauty pageant star, and her partner, Constantine, stayed at a luxury hotel that was next door to a Trio, a 3 Michelin star fine dining restaurant in Spain. After eating at the restaurant, they went on a group tour of the wine cellar, which featured vintage bottles that cost up to $371,000 a piece. Using the information from the tour, the two of them returned to their hotel. It began with Priscilla ordering room service late into the night, around 2 a.m., when only one man was working the front desk. As he left to deliver it, her husband stole his key card and used it to gain access to the wine cellar. This is her husband.
I legit am not gonna be able to kill anyone now. Wait, that guy's using a sniper. Okay.
They were ultimately caught and arrested at the Albanian-Croatian border. Both of them
Nope, maybe not.
several years in prison for armed
Because the game's starting to freaking bug out.
53,000 euros. The couple has the ability to appeal the court's decision and seem to want to do so under the lawyer's claim that 45 bottles do not fit into 2 sports bags. This case is still ongoing. I mean, 45 bottles, Your Honor, into 2 Nike bags. Like, we have video footage of you. Please. All I know is this. Tourists are terrible. Like I said, I'm canceling my flights. We're not going. No more. We're not doing it. I'm never stepping into a zoo again. All I'm going to do is I'm going to sit in my house and I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry over the atrocities of the world and these tourists. And all I can do is beg God to forgive us all.
I swear, if we lose because of me...
Here's a tip for you. If you're in Japan, don't run in front of geishas and try to take pictures like a idiot. Are you kidding me? It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. But until the next one, I'll see you then. Yeah, bye. Channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on in and sit down because today we're talking about my trip to Japan.
Oh my god, thank god we won.
Konnichiwa. Sumimasen. Mushi mushi. 1 Coke highball, please. Arigato gozaimasu. But really, we're also going to talk about how we were cursed in Japan. Yes, my friends. I full-heartedly believe that my trip to Japan, we cursed. The entire group. We'll get into that, but let me just, I'm just going to talk about my Japan trip because I do think that something supernatural happened to some degree. No joke, not even clickbait. Hashtag true story. It's a curse. I was fucking cursed, okay? Which, let me just say, intro to Japan, because people are going to wonder, what do you think of Japan? I've gotten that a little bit on social media. The pros. Beautiful. Beautiful city. Clean, right? Infrastructure. Amazing. People. Friendly. We'll see. I would say the food was good, but I'm also going to count the food as a negative. Everywhere I went, the food is good. I feel like in America, you can go into a place and you just know you're going to get sick. Like, I've been to many of those places, indulged in many of those places, and I paid the price. In Japan, it was like the pro and negative, I guess I'll just get out of the way, is that like it's all kind of the same. It's like they have a very tight dish of things that they do, and some places just specialize in little things, which you could say the same thing about America with like burgers and all the other bullshit, but you at least have some different varieties. What was kind of crazy is like when I was in Japan, I was like, man, I would kill for an enchilada. You know what I mean? I'd kill for an enchilada. And I went to McDonald's just because I was like, I gotta switch this shit up, dude. McDonald's in Japan. If that's the whole grain good shit, give me the processed goop. Give me the sludge and the slime, dude. Bring that back to me. The fries were good, at least. Every building had a good sign, which doesn't sound like an extreme. You'd be like, well, why the f does that matter? I guess growing up in America, which it's probably the same, I was gonna say in the Midwest, I mean, it's just text. There's nothing fun or enthralling about it. This is like, you could be a sushi shop, but it's like a fun neon sign, or even just like little ways that they do graphic design. The graphic design is on point, my friend, right? And if you're into like otaku culture, and if you're into like nerdy games and stuff, it's really, I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, anime is everywhere, obviously, but even to degrees that I didn't understand, of like your local police station, it's going to be anime. It's going to be maybe a construction site. It's going to be anime. It's going to be like a beagle or something. Remember the beagle? It was cute. But I thought all that was cool. It was just something so diverse and different. Also, just the amount of people. There's like a pulse of life in every town you're in. Some towns can be crazy and chaotic, and then some towns can be very quiet and quaint and very relaxing. It's nice, but in some way it always feels like it's hope in some kind of weird way. A lot of Midwestern towns I've been to, it is the opposite. It is, this is the end, this is death, this is my forever. You know, that's exactly how I feel, which I've gone and done different things and come back to appreciate it more, but it's dreams go to die. That is just you're born and do not dream, just get a job and die. That's what it feels like. And one more thing, I guess, too, is I feel like everybody just takes like a lot of pride in their work, you know? Like even people working at like a McDonald's, it felt like every job felt like it had a purpose, which I guess here in America, it's like maybe just more entitled feeling. So I would say my favorite thing by far is the rich religious culture of like shrines and temples was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. The architecture, the appreciation, coming from also a place like America, the oldest thing we have is from the late 1700s, realistically, of like the American history and stuff like that. So going to things that are like hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years old, is fucking awesome. And to see people still going there, paying respects, and being a part of that tradition and culture is just cool. The Osaka trip was our second stop. We started in Tokyo, Shinjuku,
the red light district,
where Nigerians and women come up and solicit prostitution almost on the dot at 11 p.m. It's impossible. Walking through Shinjuku at 11 p.m. in the red light district area, or at least by Golden Guy, you're going, like someone is going to offer you sex, and it's not even going to be subtle. They might say massage. Sometimes they were like massage, but then some people were like, you want to? The Nigerian guys were like, do you want to? You want titties in your face? You want see? Huh? And you're like, God, no.
My friend.
We started in Shinjuku, then we went to Osaka, and then we came back to Tokyo for our flight, but then we stayed in like Akihabara. The negatives, really, it was just in Shinjuku, it was like soliciting prostitution. Too many fucking rules was one for me. Like, if you talk on a fucking train, people are gonna get pissed. You know what I mean? Like weird where it's like societal stuff, which whatever, you know, I mean, it's not like we went ahead and did those things. I feel like we were very respectful, but it was just like very restrictive. It's a very restrictive culture, I think. I just no enchiladas. Like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, goddamn, can I get some enchiladas?
I got duped because it said taco. And I was
oh yeah, we went to a place in Osaka called Taco King. It was awesome, but I did think it was tacos, and it was just octopus balls. They were good, and it was awesome. If you're in Osaka, you should go to Taco King. But yeah, no, that translates to like, I think it means like octopus king or something. So, you know, oh silly me. So, like I said, we started in Tokyo, and then we moved to Osaka. Osaka is like, people say it's the food capital of Tokyo, which I will say the food was just way better in Osaka. If I ever went back to Japan, I probably wouldn't even go to Tokyo. I would just stay in Osaka. I had a much better time. There was still some stuff on vacation, and you're just kind of walking around. It was the cast and crew of people we had with me were myself, my beautiful wife, donkey girl. Nick, Harry, and then our lovely Irish editor, Jono. It was our first time getting to meet him in person. He's tall. I don't know how a nation of people who survives on potatoes can be so big, but there you go. So it was us all going to Osaka, and we were kind of like enjoyed our first couple days. We got to meet with my tattoo artist, Benny, who did my tattoo. We got to just experience some of like just good eats. Like it was like a nice change of pace. It was still busy, but it's not Tokyo busy. And we decided to go out. Hey, let's just go check out some of the local shops because there is some cool stuff. And I picked up a bunch of soft vinyl figurines in Osaka specifically, if you like soft vinyl figurines, which I do. But as the night was coming to a close, things closed pretty early too. Actually, another fucking negative. Nothing opens till like 11 a.m. I kept waking up at like 7 in the morning and then just like kind of, I guess I'll go for a walk. You're walking through Shinjuku at 6 or 7 in the morning. You're going to see someone like, oh, oh, like throwing up. We saw this one girl like black out on the ground, and her friends were like, hee hee. And they picked her up like luggage and just like ran off. Well, I'm assuming it's like a subway or something. The train, Americans, not the sandwich place.
The guy who slipped and slammed his head that reverberated.
That was nice, yeah. That was there. It feels like looking back on it now, there was a lot of omens telling us to stay away. Like there was something negative coming towards our future. Watching a man fall down a flight of steps, like we were walking in Shinjuku, all the bar doors are just open, so it's like welcome in. But everything in Japan goes up, so the stairs aren't like you go at like a nice. I mean, you're like climbing a fucking ladder a lot of the time. So we were walking past this bar, and I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. It's like a Motorhead bar. It was called like Ace of Spades, or had like a Lemmy decal on it. I kept an eye out for it because we kept going to this place called Gods, which was like a metal bar, and I really liked it. I mean, it was fun. But yeah, I was watching the open door, and this guy, you just hear, go, 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 go. And the man falls out, bald ass head, right on the ground. I mean, hard. He gets up, oh, like yelling, oh, and he's like not composed. Like this, like you have a concussion, 100%. He was like struggling to even stand up straight, and he just kind of like stumbles and runs off. Whatever. And the doorman does not bat an eye. Which I'm guessing that staircase has claimed many lives. But that was one thing where I was like, maybe it was a sign. Maybe being solicited prostitution by Nigerians and women. Also, I want to say that I'm gonna get to the curse, I swear to God. But I got really drunk with Nick, Jono, Rob, who's the guy who directed
No.
Sadness. We all went out to karaoke.
24/7.
It was like 2:30, 3 in the morning. Everyone split ways, you know, to go back to their hotels. I was walking back. It was like a 3-block walk, really close. I was walking home kind of drunk, and then the stairs that go down to the subway, there's like always like a fence around them. And from behind the fence, this woman pops out. Sir? Sir? You love me? And I was like, oh no. Sounds bad now, but she was like, you want massage? And I was like, no, I don't. You love me. I don't. I keep walking, and then she just followed me. 3 blocks isn't a long time, but it felt like forever. Sir? And it like got horrifying. I mean, like sad, horrifying, where she was like, sir. No, I'm good. All the way up to the front of my hotel. As I was walking in, I heard her, like that. I mean, it was insane. I wrestled some fucking demons that night. I was like, I wasn't even a prostitute. But then I was like, you can't start it off with "you love me" and then massage. I've had 6 Nigerian guys ask if I want to and then other people in like puffer jackets, girls in puffer jackets, come up and be like, "Is that tough? You fucked me?" And you're like, "No, I'm good. Massage?" I'm like, "No, dude." No. So anyways, there was a list of things where it just felt like Japan had something for me. The bad omens came to a close, and we're back at the part in Osaka. We went to go shop. We're at a crosswalk of all of these like stores. I think it was called a store called Animate, and we were at this crosswalk in between there, and there was like some other little like vinyl figure shops. Everywhere has like little anime statues and stuff. But we all reconvene. Hey, we're outside here, so we can all meet up. And Allison's to my left, Harry is beside her, Jono, and then Nick is beside me. From behind Harry, there's a man hunched over, and he has a Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze bag, like a tote bag. Like, you know, like one of those plastic tote bags. It's thrown on his shoulder like this, and he's bent over, he's looking around, he has his face mask on, and he's kind of looking around like this, whatever, which isn't out of the ordinary, because the amount of people in Japan that walk like a creature from Dagon is normal. People are bent over, they're all fucked up. I'm guessing it's just like a lot of walking through your life, a lot of like physical labor and stuff. I don't know. I just know that it's like the older they are, they crumble up like paper. So when he was standing there, they didn't really pay too much attention to it. But this is where shit hits the fan.
Today's video is sponsored by Fume, the leaders in flavored air. January's almost over, and this is usually the time when people say they're gonna make changes, but inevitably lose steam. But not you, because you... Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that helps you fill the void when you're ditching a bad habit. And the best part is, Fume is not vape. There's no vape.
I hate this game.
Anywhere. Their new retro sweets flavors, spearmint ice and cinnamon heart, are the perfect way to stay on track with your New Year's goals. Plus, there's no nicotine, no toxic flavors, and no batteries involved. Sorry, Duracell. Not here. And Fume is meant to fidget with. With satisfying snaps and clicks, Fume is there to calm you down when you're feeling anxious. Fume has already helped over 300,000 people build better habits. Try Fume today. And if you order the Journey Pack now using my code of PAPAME, you'll get a free Fume Topper. An awesome accessory to level up your experience. Go to tryfume.com/PAPAME or scan the QR code on the screen right now. Thank you, Fume.
Me just freaking trying to be sneaky.
He's peeking around, face mask on, and then he looks over at us.
Nah, I'm leaving. We're already gonna lose, so screw it. It's not even worth it.
Everyone else is talking to each other, and I'm really the only guy closing in to where this guy's going to walk through our group and make some statement. Which there was some stuff where it was like either we were on the wrong side of the sidewalk. There were so many different like rules and stuff to where people will bump into you and they'll like be like off. And you know, there's probably a big thing of people being like, "Why the fuck are there so many tourists here?" I'm like, can put a bolt in their head. Hey, I'm right there with you, buddy. So at first, like I said, I'm looking at him and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna walk right through our group. I'm like, okay, and I take like a step back, a little Midwest hospitality. Okay. But he doesn't walk through our group. He goes right up behind Harry. By the time that he gets really close to Harry, everyone notices it besides Harry because he's standing behind Harry. So everyone kind of stops talking, and he goes up to Harry and he gets really close to Harry's face. I mean, like maybe 3 inches. I mean, it was really close. And his mask is on, and his eyes get really wide. Wide. Like he is like looking into the depths of his soul. He looks at Harry and he does, "I'm sorry." he goes, "I'm sorry." And he's looking at him and he keeps looking at him and they're both just looking at each other. And then he just finally and starts shuffling off, and it's slow, real slow. And of course we turn to each other and we're like, what in the fuck is that? We turn back. The guy's gone! He's gone! We looked over for 3 seconds, 3-4 seconds maybe. He's gone! There's some people. Oh, when we got lost in the crowd. No way. He was going so slow where it's almost like we turned away and he'd have to.
So I was gonna say, once he saw you guys look away.
So this begins now the list of things that confirm that we were cursed. I don't know if there is something where a curse can be transmitted from like marking somebody with his eyes by just looking at this guy, and we all.
I don't know how.
Cursed. I don't know. It's a very superstitious.
He just freaking killed me that far, but okay.
I guess I'll say my end. That
I'll take it.
I immediately got very sick. So sick, in fact, that for the next 4 days in Japan, I'm not highly pregnant.
Oh!
I could not. I was fatigued. I got up, and I think right now there's a huge
Gosh dang it.
outbreak of like influenza or something in Japan or something like that. You know, record high. But it was just that night. I immediately was just kind of like, you know, when you kind of get sick in your throat, you're like, fuck. That next morning, I'm not even joking. It felt like I couldn't even just like choking down water was rough. I would try to get up because I'm sitting in Japan in a hotel room and I'm like, I'm wasting all this vacation time. Like I planned this, I worked so hard this year. Come out here and do this, and now I'm just like sitting there. Anytime I would get up, we try to like go down to the lobby to get like a coffee or something. I was so lightheaded, I felt like I was going to black out. Seriously, that way for 4 days. So everybody was kind of like, sure you can't come out. And
oh my god.
Like I just kind of sat there and I felt plagued. That's how I feel like I was cursed. All right. I really did not get better until we went back to Tokyo, Akihabara. So really, I was sick the rest of the time that I was there. Mind you, the next person I'll talk about is Allison because she was in the same room as me, obviously. So that night, I start getting sick. She's like, well, it's probably nothing. Just drink water. I was like, okay. So the next morning, I kind of go through. I wake up and stuff is miserable. I put on like American Dad on TV. I'm just gonna go on fucking Japanese YouTube and watch American Dad compilations because everything else on the streamers are like region blocked. Allison is taking a shower and then she just fucking screams. This is like 7 screams, blood-curdling scream. I'm like sick and frightened. She comes running out and she's like, "Why the fuck would you look in on me?" Jump scared me out there. She thought I was like looking at her through the shower, trying to scare her. I was like, dude, I'm looking at this fat ass like laying on this bed. I'm like, I've been here watching American Dad. She says, and I quote, "There was a man looking at me through the steaming glass, hands up on the glass, looking in on her." And she's like, it was crystal clear as day. But the only thing that she said was different was that she's like, I could have swore he had like black hair. I don't think it was the same, she's seeing aberrations of the man who cursed us, but I do think like some spooky shit's going on. All right. And later, one thing that me and Allison kept doing was we would look at Google reviews of businesses in Japan. It's really funny because those motherfuckers get mad over like the smallest, most insignificant things, and they'll write like, Bibles. So then we look at the hotel that we're at. It's in downtown Osaka. Look at the review, and one of the first ones was really fun trip, 3-star review. Because a lot of things in Japan also, people are like, it's perfect. I believe 3 stars. I don't know. 3-star review. What a wonderful trip, or I had a great time, something like that. This fucking review was like, I had a great time at this hotel. The ghost tried scaring me, but I thought they were funny. I would definitely come back. And we're reading this like, what? Because at this hotel, there is a fucking temple right next door. Like, not even right next door. There is a tiny alleyway, and there is a full-fledged fucking temple. The guy in his review basically goes like, oh, it was this guy with black hair, so-and-so, which everybody in Japan has black hair. But still, it was like one of these things with, he talked about the ghost from the temple. We went there the next morning and fucking read the placard of the guy who was at the temple, and she was like, this looks like him. They had like a picture of him. This looks like him, which I was just like, all right, dude, like, come on, Allison. Let's try to reel it in a little bit. But still, a fucking paranormal haunting happened. It freaked her out for the rest of the trip, at least in Osaka, where it would be like, leave the door open for the bathroom. Because it was like, there's an entryway to the bathroom, you close that, there's another door to where you have a toilet, another door to where you have your shower. So you would leave the door open to where like, anybody in the room could like look in and see, it's just me. I see my wife naked sometimes, so it's not a big deal. But just one of those things where it's like, leaving a night light on. I don't fucking know. That's Allison's. Whatever. Next, we can go up to the culprit himself, Harry. He had insomnia every night he was in Osaka. Every night since he cursed, he was tossing and turning. He was saying that he kept like hearing people tapping on the wall. Don't know what the fuck that's about. Very vague. Harry's a very vague man. So you'll just be like, well, was it scary? Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, what happened? They're just like tapping on the walls. So that's as much as I got out of that. All I know is every day it kind of looked like there was a little ounce of dread. One could have been from how insufferable me asking what the questions were in my sickly state or whenever even we were coming back. But it just felt like it's one of those things, you sleep perfectly every night in Tokyo, but then now all of a sudden you're hearing shit, you can't sleep, insomnia, it feels like you can't get any rest. Come on, bro. Right? Am I wrong?
A little suspicious.
This guy just comes out of nowhere.
Tall, doughy Irish friend, Jono. Everyone, while I was sick, went up to go see the snow monkeys. We went in the winter, so it's like perfect time of year. You go up there, there's like hot spring, you see these snow monkeys. They have red faces. I'm sure here's some pictures or some videos of them up there having a fun time. I didn't get to go because I was sick. I had a good time. Jono goes up, everyone goes up there, and we're going to...
I really wish this Beavis and Butthead kid would stop freaking cheating.
I think everybody's
gonna say it.
Did you guys see each other's dicks?
I was covered up.
You didn't just let it hang free?
Oh, I think when I grabbed my towel, I did. It was too cold. Got out and was like, so I'm pretty sure people saw my dick.
Alright, well,
oh my god.
This is normal. People go and pay to go to these hot springs and sit around.
Yep.
They go around, they really don't give a fuck. They're so acclimated to it that it's just like, they don't really even pay attention, as long as you just don't look in the eyes.
Yeah, the guy specifically said, no looking eyes.
No looking eyes, right? Which, whatever, we've heard that before. Don't look at monkeys in the eyes, sure. Jono gets in the hot spring, and from the sources of Jono, Nick, and Harry, all of the monkeys, like, surround the hot spring. They make a fucking circle around the hot spring, and they're all looking at Jono. Because he's the first Irishman we've ever seen. It's just the biggest man.
Of course.
Intimidated? I'm not sure. All I know is usually they're frolicking around and kind of doing their own thing because they just don't give a shit. But now they're all huddled around this circle watching Jono. And Jono is scared. amount of feet there in front of him, and he's like, this probably isn't normal, which sometimes the monkeys as well will get in the hot spring and the comic. This monkey like hops borderline in Jono's lap, huge noise, and it uses his fucking leg to pole vault off of him out of the hot spring, whatever, but he gashes his fucking leg up like bad, bleeding. He's like, oh my god, I can't believe what happened. Actually, I got the Jono accent. I should just do the Jono when he talks. He kind of sounds like this. So he's just kind of like doing this thing where he's like this. I can't believe that they fucking jumped off me, man. For real. It's pretty good, isn't it? I can't believe they fucking jumped off me. It's crazy. It's the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen. It's horrifying. It's fucking horrifying how he did it. He jumped off my leg and he scratched me. I got out immediately. It was the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen in my fucking life, man. For real. It's so good. If Jono's editing this, you should have him say something.
The one upside to that story is I did get to see Nick's cock when we were running into the bath, and to be honest, I was more concerned with that than I was with the monkey shit that Hunter Stalker. I don't really remember that, but I do remember seeing his dick, and I do remember seeing, I got to see his balls as well, and they're very, very good. His cock is very large.
You should show a picture of his leg, too.
Yeah, show a picture of his leg. I don't know if we can. Well, the blood, whatever. We'll have to show some picture of it, but it scared the shit out of everybody. They immediately got out and kind of ran away, and the monkeys were all in unison as they were running away. They just started doing back and forth, chant. It's fucking horrifying. They didn't even move. They didn't chant. They didn't do whatever. It almost felt like they were like, get the fuck out of here first, right? But it was egregious. And dare I say, the most curse-ridden man was Nick of all, because Nick had the curse of not getting any pussy in Japan. All right? Mind you, Nick's a dirty bird, likes to get some pussy once in a while, dude. He's a man. He does it. And we all know Nick loves Japanese women. Finds the most beautiful people in the world, so he went there very eager to find a wife, potentially. Who knows? We went to clubs. We went to bars. Women everywhere. Women who, I know for a fact, Nick's a good-looking man. And especially in some of these clubs and stuff, a lot of donkey faces out there, dude. All right? He's walking around like, you probably peacock a little bit. You know, he's all nervous. I know. Every time a girl would look at him, they would kind of perch up, though. In these clubs, just like, what the fuck's going on? It's almost as if he had this stink about him. He was emanating some kind of stink that maybe we had become accustomed to through this thing. Almost like when someone like shits their pants and on a car ride, and after a while you're just like, you become one with it. You kind of accept it as a sin. Nick couldn't break the ice with anybody. And you know what's crazy? Craziest of all is that even in Golden Guy or any of the places where people were soliciting prostitution, no one came up to him once. Which maybe they're coming up to me because I'm a big fat ugly man, and they're just like, you surely need to pay for it, right? So maybe they're like, oh, we don't have to worry about him. But it's odd. Everyone else in our group, even Allison got solicited prostitution, okay? Not one person went up to Nick to ask him in a fucking weird way. Not that he would indulge in it. I think he wanted someone to.
It hurt.
Did you want somebody to come up and...
I felt like I wasn't wanted.
It is, isn't it? Kind of feels like everybody else gets like, you go to like an ice cream store, right? Everybody else gets a sample and you're like the one kid left out. One, okay, boy, please.
Do I not look desperate enough?
I don't think so. Probably not as me. I was kind of like, I had the big fat man waddle. It's like walking through the city. But as soon as we left Japan and we were flying in the air, there was a sense of ease. Like there was a sense of like, which you could associate to a long trip and you're going home and you're looking forward to going home. But in a weird way, it was us breaking the curse, the spell. You know, if we ever return, will it be reactivated as we enter this like barrier? You know, I don't know. All I know is I would go back to Japan. Not as long. We were there way too long. We were there 17 days. Next time I went to Japan, give me a week. 1 day for travel, 5 days, and then another day for travel. Just too long. Way too long. It could have been anywhere in the world. No, it would have been like, this is way too long. What's f***ed up is everybody I told before, I was like, yeah, we're going to go there for like almost 3 weeks. Everyone's like, cool. As soon as I came back, they're like, yeah, bro. Like 10 days max. As everybody kept saying, I'm like, well, it's fucking cool, man. Thanks, dude. And I just want to give a shout out to all the wonderful people, all the buddies I got to see in Japan. Benny, Hori Benny on Instagram. He's the guy who did my tattoo. Science Patrols. My buddy Corey, who does awesome soft vinyl. He got to show me around Nakano Broadway and that kind of stuff. That was a lot of fun and hanging out with him. He also got to show me, I think it's called Yamachan, whatever. I think we went to Yamachan like 3 or 4 fucking times. It's like a little chicken wing place. It was awesome. If you're ever in Japan, you pass a Yamachan, go there. Got to meet Corey and his brother. They're awesome. Follow Science Patrols. He makes awesome soft vinyl toys. It's amazing. And of course, our beautiful boy, Jacob Takahashi, who gave me, for my birthday, he brought me a bottle of sake from his local shrine. And I thought that was awesome. Sake is disgusting. I won't drink it, but I will cherish this So that's cool. I actually do. I love it. It's sick, but sake is disgusting. So Jacob Takahashi, of course, helped voice. He's voice acted. If you've heard a Japanese voice for one of my cartoons, it's one of him. He does amazing dubs and stuff for all the animes. So please follow him as well. He's a beautiful man. But just want to say thank you to all my Japanese friends out there. Thank you so much. And you know, go to Japan. Be respectful. It's a completely different culture.
Ooh.
There's a lot of things that seem completely different to our own, right? But it's amazing. It's a great place. A lot of good people. A lot of fun. Big drinking culture. If you're a drinker, I go drink in Japan. It's fucking sick, man. Seriously. A Coke highball. That's one another. It's being like, I'd be like, can I get a Captain and Coke? And they'd be like, Captain and Coke? And you're like, yeah, Captain Coke. Oh, a Morgan and Coke. And you're like, okay. So we're getting
Huh?
there. So, and then, you know, if I want a Jack and Coke, I should
Okay.
say Daniel and Coke
Yep.
or whatever. But yeah, you can't say whiskey Coke. What?
Okay.
And you're like, Coke highball. Oh! I don't know. All in all, it was a great trip. We did get cursed. It was kind of weird. We had some ups and downs, but that was my Japanese trip. Just wanted to tell you guys about it. Thought it was a lot of fun. So happy to be here making videos again. I think it's going to be a very exciting year. We got a lot of cool stuff planned. So until the meantime, everybody, I love you all so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, it's me, Margaret, here to tell you about Melvin's Macabre manga! Yay! At a Meat Canyon dot store. The pre-order today. Sale ends January 1st. Yay!
Welcome back to the Papa Beat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Coming up and sitting down because today we're talking about animals. You know, unlike men, animals don't have biases. They are all a part of the animal kingdom and they do what animals do. Isn't that right? Unlike man, people bitch, they argue. And you know what? They start wars. Wars aren't cool. Okay? They're kind of lame. But sometimes man stretches its little disgusting paw out and it infiltrates the animal kingdom to help himself in war. We're talking about animals in warfare today is pretty much what the video is. How humans have used animals to conquer wars, finish battles, anything that pertains to man, trying to overcome its enemies using puppers and cute animals. You boot your snooze, fur babies. They're like chimpanzees. I mean, cute about any of those motherfuckers. Rip your legs off and break your legs like it's nothing.
Rip your fuck off too.
Oh, absolutely. Rip your dick off. Which we wanted to start off with something that you may have heard before. War pigs. You know, back in the day, war elephants played a huge part in ancient warfare, almost serving as a tank to intimidate armies and break through enemy fortresses. You ever seen the movie Alexander? Said Alexander was gay. I don't know if that's true. Is that true?
That's what they say.
Right, Colin Farrell sucked that guy's a second. Okay.
He sucked the Joker.
Did he suck the Joker's Batman?
Doesn't he date, what's his face? The guy who plays Joker?
Colin Farrell dates the guy who plays Joker?
In Alexander, yeah.
Oh, Jared Leto. I thought you were talking about in real life. I was like, what? Anyways, it became so prevalent that in 266 BC, ancient Greek and Roman soldiers had to create unique countermeasures to the increase of war elephants utilized in warfare. Can you imagine that many elephants walking around? I'd like to see them now. I'm kind of bummed that they're basically extinct, right?
Elephants?
Elephants, aren't they? Or endangered species list. Yeah, they're basically extinct. Elephants, while effective as battlefield tanks, were also prone to panic under certain conditions, which would often lead them to lose control and trample their own side. They get a little scared, and then they would just squash other people like bugs. During the siege of Megara, war elephants were brought into battle by the Macedonians, but this time, the Megarians came prepared. It was believed that the squeals of pigs would frighten elephants. What do you think they did? And they just all like, and they like ran off, and they're like, God! So they gathered all the pigs they could, covered them in tar, and set them ablaze before releasing them towards the opposing army, towards the siege of elephants. Man, that must have smelled delicious though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, that must have smelled great. You're like... That's my Folgers commercial. Screaming pigs, fire and stuff, and I'm just like... The pigs squealed in pain and ran frantically along the battlefield, causing the elephants to freak out and run off, trampling their own soldiers in the progress. Once again. Can you imagine being stomped by a giant elephant? That would suck, dude. I mean, okay, first off, duh. But I just mean, like, out of all the ways you could have died, like, back then, an arrow to the throat. Why should bleeding out through an arrow in your neck be worse than getting stomped by an elephant? I mean, you probably wouldn't instantly die. You'd be like, they do you like an accordion. And you'd be like, yeah, because that's what happened in Tom and Jerry. You'd hold up a sign.
This seemed like an effective tactic, but oftentimes the flaming pigs were self-defeating as they would be lit only to immediately run frantically back to their own armies. They'd be like, and then they'd run back and we were like, no, no, and then do you think that pigs, I'm not a scientist, pig gas, is that a thing? Do they pop? Because this is the whole, well, I guess it's dead bodies.
I was gonna say, you know, you get a pig all drunk, fill it with.
You get a pig liquored up.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's my wife. If you took dead pigs that had been dead for a bit and then lit them on fire, threw them, would that be a bomb?
Yeah, that'd be a bomb.
Pig bomb. Should have done a pig bomb. But going forward, the Macedonians, who acquired their elephants from the Indians, had to insist that they raise the elephants alongside pigs in order to make them less reactive to their screeches. As elephant populations declined, they stopped being utilized on the battlefield as well as the pigs. So basically, as soon as they sealed away the elephant warfare, they're just like, okay, we can stop lighting them on fire, I guess. You know, there was one guy who was just like, why? Why? Or to keep on the lighting something on fire method, why don't we talk about flaming monkeys? The tactic of lighting an animal on fire and throwing it at an enemy is not just exclusive to pigs. Horses. Lighting a horse on fire? Birds. What would that even do?
Oh, this game sucks.
Oxen and even camels have all been used throughout history as flaming weapons.
Yep, we're already gonna lose.
Today's video is sponsored by you, the leaders of flavor air.
I've got my fair share of bad habits. Sure, everybody does. But when it's time to quit, God, I need Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that helps you fill the void when you're ditching a bad habit. The holidays are here, and whether it's for yourself or for a loved one, you can give the gift of quitting with Fume. And the best part is, Fume is not a vape.
How did they have such good aim?
Use it anywhere. Plus, there's no nicotine, no toxic flavors, and no batteries involved. And Fume, you're meant to fidget with it. Instead of like snaps and clicks, Fume is there to calm you down when you're feeling anxious.
I'm gonna
Fume is super easy
scream.
to use, tasty, and highly satisfying. If you're thinking of giving Fume a try, there's no better time than now. This holiday season, you can give the gift of better habits with Fume. Head to tryfume.com/PapaMeat and use code PapaMeat to get a free Fume topper when you order a journey pack. And if you're lucky, you can even win one of Fume's limited edition gold-plated devices this holiday season. Again, tryfume.com/PapaMeat or just scan the QR code on screen to grab yours right now and make somebody's holiday unforgettable. Thank you, Fume, for sponsoring the video. Back to the video. But the strangest use of a flaming animal was during the Chinese and British Opium Wars during the 1800s. I don't know why, dude. Opium dens just make me laugh. He was just in a den just like... I like to imagine there's one Chinese guy with blonde hair. Looks just like Kurt Cobain. Like, fucked up jeans and stuff. And one of the Chinese officials allegedly suggested strapping firecrackers to the back of monkeys and then catapulting them aboard English ships. They're like, throw a couple black cats on that thing. Let's get this war done. You know the English would hate that too, right? Oh my God. They tried to kick it off, but it's like, kick it off! The thought was that the flames would spread rapidly in every direction, and with luck, it might reach the gunpowder magazine, causing the whole ship to blow up. That is such a roll to die. Throw the monkey aboard. It's gotta hit the powder keg room. I'm almost positive it will. Hey, Curious George? He shows us some gunpowder. Time to stop. Have him smell it. Oh. Go find that. Imagine seeing a monkey in the air popping off. So 19 monkeys were bought and properly geared up for their sacrifice, just shy of 20. But when the time came to deploy the monkeys, none of the Chinese soldiers dared get close enough to the enemy ships to fling the monkeys overboard. So instead, the troops fled the town they were defending. Unfortunately, no one knew how to take care of monkeys, resulting them all the time in starvation. Do we feed it? Give it a black cat. It's like, we didn't know how to take care of them. They were acting weird. Or we can talk about Taliban monkeys. In 2010, rumors were spread on a Chinese media outlet. That doesn't sound fair. Where did you get your news from? Oh, just a Chinese media outlet. And it was alluding to the Afghan Taliban training monkeys to fight the U.S. military. It claimed that they would be armed with AK-47s and trench mortars, and some would even learn to operate snipers. What is this? Did you make this up? Can you imagine a monkey with like a 50 caliber sniper rifle that has like a cap on? It's like... Their goal was to train them to recognize U.S. military uniforms and fire at them.
bananas and peanuts as rewards.
Oh my god, I'm a scream.
Hey, Jim, here's the thing. You hit that soda can a mile out, you get a little bit of this. Many scoffed at this rumor, as monkeys simply didn't possess the cognitive ability to be of any use in war, and a NATO spokesperson claimed it was no basis of reality. Yeah!
What's funny is that they made like a 3D render showing the Taliban training them.
You know, there's one guy who's just like, oh my god. He has like a copy of Mighty Joe Young on VHS. We got it prepped for war. Seriously, they're coming for us. Or we can talk about Morocco offers U.S. monkeys to detonate mines. What does that mean? In 2003, Moroccan government officials offered 2,000 trained monkeys to help detonate landmines in Iraq. And by training, the Moroccan government meant that the monkeys could run out and step on a landmine, causing the landmine to detonate and explode the monkey.
This game's horrible.
False advertising. So you're like, oh my god, these are like smart monkeys. Oh, she's like walking around like that and just blow up in the desert. Luckily for us, we have better techniques to detect landmines.
The grenades! What the frig, man?
The African giant pouched rat was utilized by Apopo, an organization that trains these types of rats to detect landmines as well as tuberculosis. Explosion? Tuberculosis. Kind of weird. It's like the same shit with like dogs can't eat chocolate, but they can smell cancer. What is up with that? Isn't that weird? When your dog comes up to you and puts his paw on your lap, gives you the Jim Halpert. You're like, oh, I got cancer. Airbud stops dribbling. Due to decades of conflict, Cambodia was riddled with hidden landmines that have yet to be unearthed. This had created a huge risk for those living there. Since 1979, 65,000 people have either been killed or injured due to landmines left over in previous conflicts. That's a lot. 65,000 people? How the fuck do you scatter that many landmines? And now they're like, there's way more. Doesn't it seem like a lot? How much space is there in Cambodia to drop that many landmines? Goddamn. With proper training, Magawa was able to understand the smells associated with landmines so that he could alert his owners and have them safely disposed of. Due to his lightweight frame, he could traverse this area without activating an explosion. His reward for finding the mines was a piece of a banana. You saved 6 people. You'll get the whole thing after the day. And during his career, Magawa helped clear over 56 acres of land, roughly 42 football fields of landmines. That's awesome! From 2016 to 2021, he successfully identified 71 landmines, 38 instances of other unexploded ordnance. And in 2020, he was the first rat to receive the PDSA gold medal from Britain, being honored during a virtual ceremony. COVID was a rough time. In just 2021, Magawa retired from bomb sniffing due to old age. For several weeks, he mentored 20 newly recruited rats before fully retiring to a life of snacking on bananas and peanuts. He died peacefully in January of 2022. God, what a hero! What a hero! That made me so giddy. This is going to be an Illumination project in the future. Patton Oswalt's going to voice it because he voices every single animated character out there. It's going to be him and what is it, Chris Pratt. But you know what? Sure, Magawa was a good man, died like a hero, and we do have a shrine of him at our studio now. But we need to talk about other animals hunting mines, like mine-hunting dolphins. This one seemed a bit counterintuitive, wasn't it? A fish coming out on land. Rats were the only animals used to sniff out landmines. And in fact, the U.S. Navy began studying dolphins in the 1960s to see if they could use them for war as well. Dolphins were being trained to sniff out underwater mines before using devices to mark them so the Navy could dispose of them safely. This was heavily utilized.
They just don't stop shooting.
2003, using dolphins to clear out over 100 mines, as well as use buoy flotation devices to force enemy divers.
Yeah, you guys are terrible. F out of my game. Nade growing pussies.
The guy's like, put it on, push him. Even discovered mines from World War II were able to be disarmed due to the dolphins' incredible accuracy. And as a reward for their successful finds, they were tossed fish to eat. They were also given healthy diets and exercised frequently, allowing them to live much longer than the average wildlife dolphin. There's no way this is real. There's no way. What is that device on his arm?
Laser.
Is that real?
Yeah.
The U.S. military that would use dolphins for mines treats them better than any SeaWorld or zoo. Is that fucked up? You exercise them daily, and they get the whole ocean to swim in.
And they're heroes. They're war heroes.
And they're heroes, they get medals. But let's move on to one of America's favorite animals, which is using an army of cats in battles. We're moving on to cats. During the Battle of Pelusium in 526 BC, not gonna say BCE, Nick, before Christ, not before Common Era, bud, the Persian army unleashed a horde of cats
to exploit the Egyptians' love for their sacred animal. You dumb son of a bitch. In ancient Egypt, cats were beloved to the point that they were seen as gods with their own laws protecting them. Taking the life of a cat was met with an immediate death sentence. I don't like cats. You know what's weird is I like my barn cats a lot. The cats I have in my house, they piss everywhere. Not everywhere, but they piss sometimes. And you're just like, fucking, like, what do you do all day? You're doing this? My barn cats are awesome. Love them. And they eat mice. Bellies are full.
They're actually working.
They're working all day. And they have a great, I mean, they're like running around outside. My inside cats are just like, you know, Jack started pissing on counters by the sink. Why? Why would you do that? And you know what's fucked up? My wife has him on Prozac. My cat's on depression pills right now. I guess I'll go live peacefully and have everything given to me. When the Persians were made aware of the religious importance they had, they were prepared with a cruel strategy to gain the upper hand. Goddamn Xerxes. The Persian army gathered several cats to release ahead of them on the battlefield. Not only that, the cats were painted on their shields as well.
Do you think that tricked them?
Oh, a kitty! Kitty! I wonder what ancient Egyptians would think of that movie Cats vs. Dogs. Would they be upset? Would they be like mad at the dogs? Ah! Punching the TV and stuff. Ah! The Egyptians were afraid of accidentally maiming their sacred animals or shooting arrows at the image of them placed upon the shields. This form of psychological warfare resulted in an easy victory by the Persians. What a weird painting. Can you imagine being commissioned to paint this? So it's like a cool battle, or they just paint some cats run across. But this isn't just primitive warfare, my friends. Why don't we talk about Operation Acoustic Kitty from the Cold War? Did you just throw up in your mouth? Because I did. Operation Acoustic Kitty was developed during the Cold War in the 1960s when the CIA attempted to create cyborg spy cats. In an hour-long procedure, a veterinary surgeon would implant a microphone in the cat's ear, a radio transmitter in the base of their skull, and antennas in their fur.
Wires will run up to its ear, to its cochlea, wires to its brain to determine when it was hungry or sexually aroused.
This is all with the hopes of having the cat position themselves near Soviet leaders to eavesdrop valuable intel. You know, like, what do you think these Russians are going to do? Oh my God, look up this little kitty cat. Let me tell you, I'm planning to blow up the world. Former CIA directors like Victor Marchetti described the cyborg cats as monstrosities. The doctor had to slit the cat open, put batteries in him, and wire him up. Oh, boo-hoo. He's got 9 lives. Marchetti, 9 lives. Project Acoustic Kitty cost about $20 million. What? For the specialized gear and CIA manpower, but the project was considered a failure. $20 million! $20 million is nothing. During the very first test, the cat walked away from the target and was immediately run over by a taxi cab. No! Oh, that's a failure. Well, imagine that being your conclusion. Do the people who are working on this, do they get fired immediately?
We go to the next project.
This very quickly illustrated that they were much harder to train than expected. It was also noted that another problem the CIA had to address was the cat getting distracted by its sense of hunger. Should have gave this millions, did. This had to be simultaneously addressed in another operation. All right, so we have Acoustic Kitty, that's $20 million, and we're putting $40 million in how to stop cats' hunger. Go. And after 5 years of preparation, the operation was a failure, and the idea of spy cats was abandoned completely. But while we're talking about cats, did you know that there was cat bombs? Not only was there cat bombs, they've used bombs for animals a lot. But we will start with cat bombs, because during World War II, many strange and unique weapons were crafted in order to get a leg up on their adversaries. And one of the strangest suggestions was to construct cat-guided missiles. A U.S. official came up with the idea when he was thinking of ways to improve the Air Force's targeting to enemy battleships. How? His solution was to strap a cat to a bomb and have the cat guide it to the battleship. His thought process was that the cats hate water, so if you dropped it over water, it would instinctively steer the bomb towards the battleship in order to avoid getting wet. So I have a cat at home and he hates our pool. All right? You know, you strap that bad boy to a missile, he's not going to want to go to the ocean. A big pool. But it ultimately didn't work, as during testing, it was discovered that cats tend to pass out when plummeting towards Earth. Thus, the cat missiles never got to be used in battle. Or we could talk about Project Pigeon. The U.S. government had a similar idea named Project Pigeon. This was an experiment program during World War II that aimed to train pigeons to guide bombs to their targets. Why were they so adamant that these animals would be like, we have to look back to Mother Nature? Here's how it worked. Pigeons were trained to peck at an image of the target on a screen by using food rewards as conditional training. Once again, bananas and peanuts. When the target was on screen and the pigeons pecked the target, food would be dispensed as a reward. And they had a bomb guidance system. The bomb was outfitted with a small chamber containing 3 pigeons. So we built the bomb, and this compartment right here, this is for the 3 pigeons. Now you see, he's like going into this. The pigeons pecked at the target image on screen, and their pecking movements adjusted the bomb's flight path via electronic signals, guiding it toward the target. Using 3 pigeons ensured redundancy. If one bird got distracted, the others could maintain accuracy. This system also allowed it, so if one pigeon disagreed with the other 2 pigeons could override his decision. We have to have democracy in the bomb! The National Defense Research Committee saw the idea as too eccentric and impractical, but still contributed $25,000 for the research. This is barbaric! Putting pigeons in a cage in a bomb? No! Give me $25,000. I don't think it's gonna work. How much more do you need for the cats? Have you solved their hunger problems? B.F. Skinner, the project lead, complained, "Our problem was no one would take us seriously." Despite an effective demonstration, ultimately the project was abandoned. But we move on to rat bombs. This one's a little less fun. The British Special Operations executives started getting creative with how they hit explosions, with examples ranging from wine bottles to dead rats. And the SOE gathered piles of dead rats, skinned them, and shoved bombs up their ass before sewing them shut and delivering them to France, which was occupied by Germany at the time. This is a very odd Trojan horse. I heard Germans love bald rats. They love to eat them. They hoped that German forces would seize them and toss them into boilers to dispose of them, thus setting up an explosion that would potentially take out an entire military base and steam engines. The mission ultimately failed, but the Nazis still panicked at the discovery of rat explosives and became paranoid of similar attacks. They sent the ones they received to military schools to exhibit them. Can you imagine the teachers? What is this? Or we could talk about a much scarier Transylvanian type of bomb, the bat bomb. A similar project was developed in World War II. These are all World War II. All of them were just people who were like, birds and beasts with bombs. It was referred to as Project X-Ray, where Mexican free-tailed bats were being used to create bat bombs. And originally, it was touted as the greatest weapon ever dropped from an airplane. After Pearl Harbor, a dental surgeon named Dr. Little S. Adams pitched what he believed to be an ingenious plan to destroy Japan. This plan consisted of attaching incendiary explosives to bats, which would be dropped out of an aircraft to roam the streets and set fires to buildings. As their buildings were mostly made of wood, they thought this would do immense damage to Japanese structures. They worked within the caves of New Caverns, Texas, which was home to over 20 million bats. They clipped bombs set with timers to their chest with a string that they hoped the bats would bite off and leave behind to cause damage. Problems started to arise, leading to a very unimpressive showcase. After not descending properly, it would just splat onto the floor, and in one case led to a hangar being set on fire, destroying the car of a general in the audience. Not only that, but inducing hibernation in bats for these experiments were not easy for the time, resulting in many of them simply not waking up. They just died. Due to the disappointing results of the test, Project X-Ray was canceled. Even so, some bats with bombs attached to them had escaped and ended up doing damage to Carlsbad military base, as well as Dr. Adams' personal property.
Also, he was just doing this in his dentist office.
He just sat there, he's just like, we got your root canal, don't mind the bat droppings. As if working with the government on something big. Has he never seen a bat fly? What is he expecting? Like, birds are graceful, right? Bats are like... Or we could talk about Stalin's kamikaze canines. During World War II, the Soviet army trained dogs to take out German tanks in missions, an unaliving mission. Thanks, YouTube. To do this, they would starve dogs and then eventually feed them by putting food under stationary tanks. Using Pavlov's theory, the dogs would now instinctively search under tanks to look for food. The problem arose when the dogs were unable to handle the complicated test scenarios. In a real battle, besides with gunfire and tanks easily...
I always win. I always win.
That they would check under the tank and return with bombs, leaving the entire groups of allies being obliterated. Fight or die! At times, the dogs would avoid German tanks that reeked of petrol and ran under Russian tanks instead, leading to more unnecessary destruction. Although riddled with errors, these anti-tank dog units were able to destroy hundreds of tanks throughout World War II. So while, there was some oopsie daisies, that's just kind of Russian in general. Yeah, we got it done. You killed 50% of your own people. We got it done. Alright, these were not the oldest accounts of animals being used as explosives. In 184 BC, snake bombs were utilized during the battle between the kingdoms of Bithynia and Pergamon. During intense naval combat, Hannibal Barca was aware that the Pergamonian forces were far too overwhelming. Because of this, he devised a plan to create a unique type of explosive. He told his fleet to begin filling thousands of clay pots with venomous snakes before launching them at enemy captain's ship, where King Eumenes II was contained. The venomous snakes crashed into the ship and, already provoked, began attacking the
terrified soldiers. The entire enemy fleet began to panic, shocked at such an unconventional battle tactic. Among the chaos, Hannibal charged towards the weakened enemy ships and emerged victorious. This one actually seems like it would be a good idea.
Alright, I'll make it off.